following is a presentation of TBS Sports.
And here comes the play. It's all down to this. 15 seconds in the game. 4th down goal at the 3. Sutton fakes the pitch, throws it into the end zone. There's Newberry! Touchdown, Alabama! The players sent in from the sideline, sneaked into the corner, and Alabama leads with 10 seconds remaining.
Well, we didn't come up here to tie, and a tie would have helped us in the conference standings a lot more than a loss, obviously. But I felt like that where our program is right now, and with the way we had struggled today, if I had gone for the tie, I wouldn't have been worried about the fans. I don't think I could have faced my players. I really don't. We had to win this football game at that point.
And who would have thought that last Saturday's win at Kentucky could be a turning point for the Alabama season? Though the Crimson Tide has faced turmoil and adversity since the spring, its most difficult challenge was a 4th quarter comeback so confidently executed in Lexington. But the celebration must be a short one, for the Ole Miss Rebels await Bama's return to Tuscaloosa. Billy Brewer's team presents a balanced offense that can move the ball on anyone, as the powerful Florida defense discovered last month. And today, the Rebels relish the chance to turn the tide of emotion that has Bama fans riding high. It's homecoming weekend at the University of Alabama as TBS Sports continues its 5th season of SEC football coverage. Today, an old rivalry renewed. The Ole Miss Rebels come calling on the 15th-ranked Crimson Tide of Alabama in the newly expanded Bryant-Denny Stadium. Hello, everybody. It's a beautiful day in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. 66 degrees, sunshiny afternoon, along with Tim Foley. This is Bob Neal. Well, Alabama's undefeated at 3-0, but they certainly know how to throw on an interesting ball game. They trailed Kentucky 17-0 at halftime, and with 10 seconds left, came from behind to win 31-27 last week. And significant about that, Tim Foley, I think, is the fact that Kentucky led Alabama 17-0 at the half last week.
And that offense is going to face the same type of tenacious, fighting, aggressive upfield defense this afternoon in an Ole Miss defense that is always competitive. It's a defense that has carried the offense for the last couple of years, and they're playing on their game now.
Now, talking about the Ole Miss defense, they're a tenacious group, no question about it. A lot of talent with Alabama. Alabama's probably going to see Mark Young and Willie Green and a lot of balls in the air today. What might that mean to the Alabama defensive unit?
Well, last week they came after Kentucky frequently. Now, this week they're going to start their all-SEC free safety, Kermit Kendrick, at corner, which might mean a little less pressure, a little less man-to-man, more zone defense. A little bit more conservative approach.
Let's go back one more thing on that Alabama offense, and that is a change in the starting quarterback. Jeff Dunn struggled early last week. Sutton came in, then Jeff Dunn, then Sutton led the comeback win. He's starting today.
Yes, and they both struggled all last week. They're starting off with Sutton, but once again, I think Dunn is ready. Whoever's got the hot hand's going to play.
We'll be back in just a moment for the starting lineups and the kickoff from Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's homecoming. But first, let's go back to our studios in Atlanta. Craig Sager and the Old Milwaukee Insider Report.
Thank you very much, Bob. Scouts from the 18 bowl games don't know which way to turn. For the first time in 5 years, the Southeastern Conference does not have the best record. The Pac-10 does. Unfortunately, the league does not draw well outside the West. Scouts in the bowls who thought that maybe they caught last year's winners are really in trouble. Michigan State, Texas A&M, and Tennessee have just one win between them. And there are twice as many unbeaten, untied teams to follow than a year ago. Straight A's for Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Colorado, Duke, Florida, Hawaii, Houston, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, Oregon, South Carolina, Southwest Louisiana, UCLA, USC, West Virginia, and Wyoming. And don't expect a showdown for number one. I'm telling you first, top-ranked Miami will go to the Cotton Bowl. The Canes have no interest in staying at home in the Orange Bowl. They've lost twice in 4 years in the Fiesta Bowl and have bad memories from Tennessee in the Sugar Bowl. Plus, it would be a homecoming for Coach Jimmy Johnson, who grew up in Port Arthur, Texas. We'll be back at halftime with the coach who beat Jimmy Johnson in the Sugar Bowl, Tennessee's Johnny Majors.
The Old Milwaukee Insider Report has been brought to you by Old Milwaukee Beer and Old Milwaukee Light, two of America's great tasting beers. It doesn't get any better than this.
Bryant-Denny Stadium, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The Rebels and the Crimson Tide clashing
for the 38th time today. Alabama holds a commanding 35-2 advantage in the series. It dates back to 1894. Bama has won the last 5 contests, with the last Ole Miss win coming in Jackson back in 1976. The Rebels have never won in Tuscaloosa in 14 tries. The last meeting between the two was in '83. Alabama shut out Ole Miss 40-0 in Tuscaloosa. The weather today is beautiful. 66 degrees at game time, partly cloudy, just a slight breeze. And now in front of a homecoming crowd at the newly renovated Bryant-Denny Stadium, the Alabama team set to enter the field as the cheerleaders and the band strikes up the balloons. The crimson balloons fill the sky, and the crimson jerseys fill the stadium. 3-0, ranked 15th in the nation, and what an exciting ball game last week. We all loved it except for Coach Curry. He loved the final 10 seconds. Until that time, his Crimson Tide was trailing Kentucky at Lexington. So Bill Curry 3-0, and he's got this team on the march despite the adversity of losing quarterback David Smith, running back Bobby Humphrey, and injuries that really plagued the team, including the cornerback Gene Jelks. And by the way, we talked to Bobby Humphrey about his future career plans, and we'll be telling you about that a little bit later, whether he'll come back to Alabama or go to the NFL. The Ole Miss Rebels are led by Billy Brewer, an Ole Miss graduate in '61 where he was a two-way player, a quarterback and a defensive back. Brewer's in his 6th year as head coach of his alma mater, and the Ole Miss Rebels have played everybody tough. They really ran out of gas in the second half last week against Georgia in Athens, and now they have to come to homecoming here in Tuscaloosa. Back in a moment.
SEC on TBS Sports is brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil with QSX for the maximum protection against sludge. And Buick and your Buick dealer. The great American road belongs to Buick. And by the U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Alabama won the toss, deferred their choice. Ole Miss will receive on the left. Number 27, Stevan Moore. On the right, number 3, Pat Coleman. And Philip Doyle, number 17, the sophomore from Birmingham, will kick off for the Crimson Tide, homecoming 1988. A couple of dangerous return men in Moore and Colden. The line drive to Stevan Moore. The senior upfield to the 20-yard line. And that's where Ole Miss will take over on offense. And Mark Young, the senior from Jacksonville, 3 interceptions, 2 touchdown passes, very live arm. We'll probably see him throwing a lot to number 1, Willie Green today. Mickelson Sykes in the backfield. And Wesley Walls, the tight end, a two-way player. He's also a linebacker on defense. The offensive line, it is patchwork. Dawson Pruitt, the only man to have started every game at his position. He's the center, and he is a good one. First down 10, Ole Miss from the 20. Throwing early. Looking deep to Reed Hines. Incomplete. Ball thrown out of bounds. John Mangum covering on the play, number 25. Number 29 is John Mangum. When you're looking at the Alabama defense, Tommy Cole, Willie Wyatt, George Bethune had a very good game against Kentucky. Willie Wyatt, all-conference nose guard. Derek Thomas, all-everything. He was National Defensive Player of the Week, according to Sporting News last week, for his game against Kentucky. And John Mangum, a cornerback who will be tested today. And note the change. Kermit Kendrick has moved over to the other cornerback position. That's replacing Gene Jelks. Last week, redshirt freshman Brian Stutson started there for Alabama. On second down 10, Young to the air again. Had his man wide open for the first down, Reed Hines, but overthrew him by 5 feet. The third down 10.
Bob, they're working the wide side of the field with the pass. They started the game off trying to loosen up the Alabama secondary. Alabama played a zone against it. That time they were in man-to-man. They had Hines open, but as you mentioned, Young overthrew the pass.
Mark Young is the drop back, 6'3", 190. You see he's a tall, lanky guy, drop back passer. John Darnell, their run-oriented passers, playing on a sore knee. We might see Darnell a little bit later. Mark Young, problems with the offensive set. Timeout on 3rd down 10. Sykes and Mickles in the backfield couldn't quite get it straight. So Ole Miss uses their first timeout of the day. Opening moments from Tuscaloosa. You're watching the SEC on TBS Sports. Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you. And the headsets, Billy Brewer, head coach at Ole Miss. He wasn't wearing those last year, was he, Tim?
That's a change for him, and he's got 2 new coordinators this year. I'm sure Billy wants to listen in on what's happening during the game.
3rd down 10, Ole Miss. 2 incomplete passes from quarterback Mark Young. Slot right formation from their own 20-yard line. On the sprint out, pressure. Down he goes, Greg Gilbert. The senior from Decatur, Alabama, gets the sack back at the 10-yard line. And the Alabama defense with the big play early on.
3rd and long, got him backed up, Bob, and they want to keep Mark Young from getting on track. Don Lindsay coming with a blitz. And I tell you what, against Alabama, if you don't get it off on time, you're probably not going to get it off. They had 9 coming that time. Good coverage by the secondary.
Charles Childers had a good game punting the ball last week. He had 12 punts against Georgia. His first of the day. We'll probably see him often. Things hold true. Cassimus at the 46-yard line of Ole Miss. Number 33, John Cassimus. Alabama led by senior Vince Sutton, who has started 3 homecoming games as fate would play into his hands. William Kent, Murray Hill in the backfield. We'll probably see several fullbacks for Alabama today. Larry Rose and John Brumorgan, excellent guards. They are roommates, and they are a load on probably the best offensive line of the SEC, at least in my humble opinion. And Robert Stewart is the starter at fullback for Alabama, not William Kent. Stewart is 34, Murray Hill 45. Vince Sutton to Murray Hill. Nothing happening. The little 5'7" tailback, who's the replacement for the injured Bobby Humphrey. The Ole Miss defensive football team, as Tim told you on our opening, a very tenacious bunch. Kelvin Pritchett is the nose guard. Darrell Smith is off this weekend for a death in the family, and they'll miss him. He also has a sore ankle. There's Wesley Walls at the linebacker position. He may not start there. Lopez Jones also plays there, but Walls is the two-way man for Ole Miss. Stevan Moore, a lot of people think he's one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the entire country, number 27 for Ole Miss. Sutton on the roll, and the throw incomplete. Excellent pressure right in his face came number 88, Lopez Jones.
Sutton trying to get outside. Watch Jones getting upfield, fights off the block, actually leaps over the block of the fullback, pressures Sutton. Good coverage by Don Price, not much room. You see Marco Battle turning to the outside. Roger Hancock coming from the inside. Price was on top of it. Not much room to stick it in there.
3rd down 10 for Alabama now. Sutton, good time. Now he runs from the pocket. It's picked off. Interception, Ole Miss, number 21, Roger Hancock.
Ron Case is the secondary coach here at Ole Miss, and he does one of the finest jobs of anybody in the country. We've seen them play for the last 4 years. Hancock is trailing Howard Cross. Kentucky used this same type of scheme against Alabama last week. They put somebody man-to-man underneath the zone on Howard Cross, and Vince Sutton just didn't see Hancock trailing. Good catch by Roger Hancock. Mississippi going the other way.
That opportunistic defense was the defense that kept Ole Miss in the game against Georgia last week. They've done it again here in Tuscaloosa. From the 39-yard line, here's the fullback, Mickles. To the 40, gain of about 1.5 yards. Derek Thomas, 55 with the stop. And there he is, 21, Hancock, the man with the interception, his first of the year.
I think that's Derek Thomas that's down there, Bob. Down on the field. Roger Hancock. You see Derek Thomas with a good stick on the fullback, Mickles. And Mickles probably has set a record for the most games on TBS. This is the 9th time we've seen him play.
12:53, to go in the first quarter. So Derek Thomas, the Alabama player who was shaken up, you see him standing in the middle of your picture there, looks to be okay. He is clearly the best player on their defensive football team. He blocked a punt, blocked a kick last week, 14 tackles, got the quarterback, tackles for loss. He does it all. Now Ole Miss, 2nd down 9. Mark Young has Willie Green. Leaping grab and down at the 33-yard, incomplete. The official says incomplete. Apparently Green was juggling when he went out. Lee Osment was covering on the play for Alabama.
Good protection that time by the Ole Miss front. Young's got time to throw the ball. He wanted it coming across to the slot man. Hits Willie Green. Green goes up for the ball, pulls it down. Osment digging it out of there. Pulled it free. Good call by the official.
It'll be 3rd down 9. Neither team able to move it so far. Ole Miss had to punt out of the end zone. Then the interception of Alabama quarterback Vince Sutton. Complete for the first down to Willie Green, and just barely, but it's enough. Mangum on the tackle. Willie Green, the leading receiver. He's from Athens, Georgia, junior. That's his 19th catch on the year. He's the 5th leading receiver in the conference.
And that's also 19 games in a row, Bob, that Willie Green has made a reception. Mangum in good shape. Mark Young drills it in there. Mangum close. Let's watch George Bethune, number 59, working against the Ole Miss James King. Good job, good protection.
Out to midfield now. 1st down 10, Ole Miss. First quarter, scoreless ball game. Alabama homecoming. Hines in motion for the Rebels. Young, good protection again. Hines was triple covered over there. Closest man was 27, Kermit Kendrick.
Bill Curry had, well, I guess that's why you're a head coach, to make the decisions that he made last year. Talking to Vince Sutton, trying to encourage him, build his confidence up. They need a trigger man that emotes confidence, somebody that can gain control of the pattern of the game. And Sutton has been the type of player, if he's hot, he's hot. If he's not, it takes him a while to warm up.
2nd down 10. Ole Miss, scoreless game, 12:15 to go, first quarter. Once again, Young having problem with the set in the backfield. James Earl Thomas is the tailback now. He gets the ball. Good of the markers down. Thomas breaking tackles inside Alabama territory. Mike Smith, number 9, with a stop for Alabama. Jim Earl Thomas is a sophomore from Marigold, Mississippi. He's got a little more breakaway speed than starter Sean Sykes. There's the call against Ole Miss. Illegal procedure. The official today, the referee, is Astor Sizemore, the man in the white hat.
Astor Sizemore qualifies as our all-name team. He'd be the official on our all-name team.
Illegal motion on the offense.
He can go in there with Jim Earl Thomas. Talked to Langston Rogers of Ole Miss, said, now, does he use his middle name? Is it just Jim Thomas? He said, of course he uses
You think he's from Chicago?
That's right. Of course he's Jim Earl Thomas. And I made that correction. 2nd down 15, Mark Young. Brings it over the middle, incomplete. Wanted to get it to number 1, Willie Green. And Mark Young now 1 out of 6 for only 10 yards. And Ole Miss will have to get rid of the football.
Nice job. But see him double pump there. If you can make a quarterback do that, you've done your job in the secondary. Willie Green trying to work his way open. I think he came to Willie Green as a second choice. He was looking for Reed Hines deep down the middle. It wasn't there. Came back to Willie Green, and he was getting hit as he delivered the ball.
Of course, after the penalty, this is 3rd down. It's the 4th play, but the 3rd down 15. Ole Miss with one more opportunity. Mark Young with a loss, and now Ole Miss will have to get rid of the football. Tommy Cole with the stop, number 51 for Alabama.
Well, you wouldn't say Mark Young's got a fine arm, but you certainly wouldn't say he's elusive. And he's going to be scampering all afternoon trying to avoid that Alabama rush.
Charles Childers, sophomore from Ripley, Mississippi, averaging 38.9 on the year.
this will be his 30th punt. Give you an idea of the inconsistency of the Ole Miss offense. They're coming after it. Childers got it away. Cassimus going to let it bounce. Takes an Ole Miss bounce. And unwisely it was touched. It could have gotten 5 or 6 more yards there. It was Ricky Richardson got his hands on it, and they will spot the ball inside the Alabama 30. Let's mark it at the 29-yard line. 36-yard punt by Childers. Players of the week in the Southeastern Conference this week. Tim Worley of Georgia had himself a field day against this Ole Miss defense last week. He also had a 93-yard kickoff return. And on defense, Derek Thomas. You see his numbers in the game you saw here on TBS Sports. And Richard Payne of Florida with 2 back-to-back big plays for the Gators, undefeated on the season. From the closer to the 30, first down 10, Alabama. Scoreless ball game, first quarter. Murray Hill. Wrapped up and thrown down hard. Good defensive play by Arthur Scott. 95.
Good play by Arthur Scott here, and you're going to see Lopez Jones come into your picture. Scott on the pursuit. Number 95, Arthur Scott. Lopez Jones, you see Lopez, he took on 3 guys, forced the play to bounce. Scott there scraping off the hole to clean up the running back.
Second down 10, Alabama. First possession, Sutton threw an interception. Was picked off by Roger Hancock of the Rebels. Cross in motion, the tight end. Sutton back to throw. Now the run. He slides down at the 35. Gain of about 4.5 on the play.
Bob, I really feel, I get the impression that Vince Sutton is a lot more confident when his feet are moving as opposed to his arm moving. He likes to, he'll get back in there, but if he doesn't see what he likes, he's got great confidence in his ability to create some excitement on the ground. Had a big scramble last week against Kentucky, a 17-yarder on 4th and 9.
See that Sutton came in with very high hopes, highly recruited freshman in hard times in terms of being the quarterback. You may recall that Mike Shula was the man who replaced him and played so well at quarterback for Alabama. Now as a senior starting the homecoming game under pressure, and down he goes. Almost completed the pass. What a great play by Sutton under pressure. Shows you his athleticism. Lowe was all over him, but he almost connected with number 6 Greg Payne.
Good job of coverage on the wide side of the field by Stevan Moore. And look at this. Whoop. Find an open spot, Vince. Find an open spots. Great job. Rodney Lowe popping off each floor to put him on the ground. Payne working to get open. And look at that. Almost comes up with a great play.
Chris Moore with a punt. Pat Coleman, one of the best punt returners in the nation, at the 25, bobbles it and falls on it wisely. After I said he was one of the best punt returners in the nation. He has 1 return for a touchdown this year. Number 3, Coleman, junior college transfer. You'll probably see a lot of him this afternoon. A 40-yard punt by Chris Moore with 9:25 to go in the first quarter. It is a scoreless ball game, and Ole Miss will now try to get something going offensively from their 25. Ole Miss's Mark Young is only 1 out of 6 for 10 yards, and the team is rushed for 10 yards. And Holder split wide on the left side for Mark Young. It's complete to Holder. Down he goes at the 33-yard line. Jeffrey Holder is a sophomore from Bay Springs, Mississippi.
Now this is a makeshift Ole Miss line. They've moved them around. This is the first time this year this line has played together 2 weeks in a row. And that's just a super job by Jeff Robes. Of course, Willie Wyatt's in the middle of the field. It's always tough for a nose man to get a break. He's got 3 guys checking his jersey all the time. But that time, just a timing route by Mark Young, delivered in on time to Holder.
Second down, long 2 from the 33-yard line. Coleman and Holder, the receivers. Coleman 3, Holder 2. Sean Sykes is stopped for no gain. You can hear it all the way up here in the press box. It was Willie Shepard, number 96, who put the first hit on him.
You know, and Greg Gilbert and Willie Shepard, John Sullen's doing a fine job at that inside linebacker position for Don Lindsay. But they're not very big in a sense. 217 pounds for linebacker Alabama for Greg Gilbert. Same for Willie Shepard. You'd expect bigger people in there, and that's why they're trying to get Sullins into the game.
This is 3rd down 2. They're going to throw it. Nobody home. And Mark Young and Ole Miss continue to struggle offensively. That's only 2 of 8 for only 18 yards for Mark Young. And Ole Miss will punt again. It's going to be a sore leg for Childers. This will be his 3rd punt as Cassimus goes back to receive it at about his 25-yard line.
Bob actually looking for a screen pass there to Sean Sykes, but Van Trees Davis was married to him. He was standing right next to him, so Young wisely threw it out of bounds.
Alabama dropping back for coverage on this one. Not a very long punt by Childers. Cassimus at his 28. And down at the 36-yard line where Alabama will take over and see if they can get something going offensively. Sutton 0 for 3, and Alabama's rushed for only 5 yards on the afternoon. You're watching the SEC on TBS Sports. Number 19 for Ole Miss is Todd Sandroni, a sophomore from Shaw, Mississippi. He had a whale of a game last week against Georgia following a very good season last year. He had 3 interceptions, 1 fumble interception and 2 pass interceptions. He's one of these guys that's just always near the ball. Reminds me a little bit of Terry Hogue, used to play for Georgia's Bulldogs. Speaking of that, Tim Foley.
Exactly. Played 7 games last year for Ole Miss as a freshman. Ended the year leading the SEC in interceptions with 7.
Todd Sandroni.
Already got 4 under his belt this year.
And yes, he's a sophomore. Nice defensive secondary for Ole Miss. One of the reasons they play the defense against the pass so very well. 7:49 to go in the first quarter. First down 10 Alabama at the Alabama 36-yard line. So Alabama with only 5 yards on the ground. That was a run by Sutton. They have no yardage from the backfield position at all so far. And 2 pass interceptions. He's one of these guys that's just always near the ball. Reminds me a little bit of Terry Hogue, used to play for Georgia's Bulldogs. Speaking of that, Tim Foley.
Exactly. Played 7 games last year for Ole Miss as a freshman. Ended the year leading the SEC in interceptions with 7.
Todd Sandroni.
Already got 4 under his belt this year.
And yes, he's a sophomore. Nice defensive secondary for Ole Miss. One of the reasons they play the defense against the pass so very well. 7:49 to go in the first quarter. First down 10 Alabama at the Alabama 36-yard line. So Alabama with only 5 yards on the ground. That was a run by Sutton. They have no yardage from the backfield position at all so far. Tries the short side, gets a couple or 3 yards. Lester Brinkley with the stop, number 98 for Ole Miss. Hill has 260 yards on the year, 2 touchdowns, 4.3 speed. He's only 5'7". Tim, can he, because of that size, deliver 4 quarters every game?
Yeah, I think so, because he's elusive enough. He's not going to take any big shots. He can survive, and you know that he's always a threat to explode on you defensively.
Second down 6 from the 40. Scoreless game from Tuscaloosa. Murray Hill tries it outside. Nice pursuit by Ole Miss. Look at all the white jerseys over there. About 6 of them as a penalty marker goes down at the top of your screen.
Ole Miss has a new defensive coordinator this year, Robert Henry, who spent last year at Tennessee, and he's a type of guy. He's a lot like Carl Torbish used to be at Ole Miss. You know, very strict, very disciplined. You know, kind of like a platoon leader type of guy.
Illegal use of the hands on the offense, but 10-yard.
They had good talent last year. Things didn't go well for them, but look at them pursue. Look at them come. And they've got the discipline to stay behind the football, waiting for the cutback, knowing confidently that someone's going to turn the play back into that pursuit. So they're playing well.
That'll make it second down 16 Alabama from the 30-yard line. Scoreless game, 6:53 to go first quarter. Once again, Ole Miss playing tenacious defense early in the ball game. The question, can this thin rebel line hold up for 4 quarters against an Alabama team that is devastating offensively in the 4th quarter? Ole Miss already celebrating without the ball being snapped because of a delay of the game. And you're going to see Alabama use a lot of time at the line of scrimmage. Obviously, they didn't want to use that much time.
Yeah, it's a ploy that they've used. They try to get the defense to jump. They do some things with the cadence, and it's apparent that that's happening. If it doesn't work, they call a play.
Second down 21 now, all the way back to the Alabama 25-yard line. 5 defensive backs in there for the Rebels. Sutton got some pressure. And down he goes at the 28 or 29-yard line. Keith Thompson, 87, and Philip Kent, 84, were back there. And Sutton is 0 for 3 passing and taking a pounding when he has to run with it.
Sutton kind of controls your coverage calls, too, a quarterback like that, Bob, because you're not only concerned about covering the receivers downfield, you're concerned about the run. And if you get into some man-to-man defense and the quarterback escapes from the pocket, it's going to be a big gain for you.
Time remaining, a little less than 6 minutes in the first quarter. 3rd down 16, Alabama out of the shotgun, and they hand it off to Murray Hill, who tries to stretch it wide. Only back to the original line of scrimmage. You like the lateral pursuit of the Ole Miss defense. They string it out very well. Stevan Moore with credit for the tackle, number 27.
You see Sean Cobb, number 44. Keith Thompson moving to the side. Roger Hancock, number 21. That's the way to stick it in there. Roger's a defensive back, taking on Robert Stewart. Good job of closing on the football.
Chris Moore, he almost got to that one. Very, very high. Good hang time. Fair catch at the 28-yard line by Coleman. There's going to be a penalty against Alabama for interfering with the fair catch. Steve Webb, 84, was in there, waving his hands in the face of the punt receiver, Pat Coleman. It was a 37-yard punt, but there'll be some better field position attached here to the Ole Miss reception.
We have a 5-yard penalty for being in the buffer zone.
That's a 2-yard buffer zone, an imaginary circle of 2 yards around the punt receiver.
Coleman calling for the fair catch.
Ballet.
Olé.
Nice move.
Good agility, but Steve, they still got you.
Steve Webb, it's a sophomore. First down, 10, Ole Miss. Scoreless game, 5 minutes to go in this first quarter. Mix up at the snap. Mark Young just takes it down right there.
Mark Young and Dawson Pruitt have a conversation after that one, because it was evident that nobody expected that ball to come up there besides Dawson Pruitt, the center. Mark is standing behind the center. Hey, look, I don't want this thing yet. My friends aren't ready to protect me. See Derek Thomas putting a flak jacket on, obviously a little rib injury.
Mark Young stays in that pocket. Incomplete. Intended for number 1, Willie Green. Out about the 43-yard line, and Mark Young now goes to 2 for 9 for 18 yards.
Looks like they're moving and sliding John Mangum with Willie Green. They're going to put Mangum on their best wide receiver. John had a couple of plays last week that I'm sure he'd just as soon forget about, but when you're a cornerback in a league like this, you're going to have some embarrassing moments, and you just have to have a short memory. Forget those bad times and concentrate on the next play.
3rd down 10 from the 33-yard line. 4:23 to go first quarter. Here's the delay to the fullback. Mickles stumbles forward as penalty markers go down. Mickles is down to about the 33 or 34. Willie Wyatt, 98, the all-conference nose guard for Alabama with the stop. Holding Ole Miss.
Well, they'll decline this one, take the football, I think.
If they don't, Bill Curry will be irritated.
I think that's why he's moving his hands back and forth, right?
On the offense, it's declined. It'll be 4th down.
They got the message, and Ole Miss will punt again. This will be the 4th punt of the day for Charles Childers. He had to punt 12 times last week in the Ole Miss-Georgia game. And he averaged better than 40 yards per punt last week. Today, as you see, not so good, 34-3.
In a defensive battle like this, the special teams become even more important. They become magnified, because if you can come up with a big play here, your offense is sputtering, could provide some life.
Cassimus, fumble! Who's going to get it? Ole Miss football. The prophetic Tim Foley called it. Special teams playing a large role at the 31-yard line. Ole Miss will have the ball.
It's a lonely feeling back here, too, for John Casmus. He's looking into the sun. You see the shadow behind him. The ball's coming out of the sun. It pops loose on him. And the scramble is on. Ole Miss, and this is what we saw. Of course, we didn't see Ole Miss on TV last year, but in the past when we've seen them, Bob, we've seen their defense play very well and provide an opportunity for their offense to score. And that's what they have now. And if they're going to stick with Alabama throughout this afternoon, they have to take advantage of this offensive opportunity.
75, Jim Letts apparently fell on that ball on 1st and 10. Mark Young, no chance, down at the 39. Derek Thomas just brought his flak jacket with him.
And this guy here, this guy can take on Rambo one-on-one and win. Derek Thomas, if there's a better defensive player in the nation, I haven't heard about him. He's fantastic. And I don't care who the offensive lineman is, you got to have help on him. No rascal can handle him man-to-man.
Remember those great years of Billy Ray Smith at Arkansas? Reminds me of him a little bit. He's everywhere. 2nd and 18 now for Ole Smith and Ole Miss with 3:08 to go in this first quarter. Willie Green with a reception out of bounds at about the 34-yard line of Alabama. Kermit Kendrick with the stop.
Ole Miss on 1st down tried to get it deep. They were running that corner route into the end zone with Reed Hines, and just great coverage by Mangum. Nothing there. You see Red Parker on the sideline. Of course, Red is a former head coach at the Citadel and at Clemson. Last 6 years, head coach at Delta State. Great offensive mind. Billy Brewer brought him in here to redesign his offense.
3rd down, 13 at the 33 of Alabama. Mark Young had a little bit of a mix-up in the patterns there. Both number 1 Green and 3 Coleman were crossing at about the same place.
Let's watch Willie Green here. He's working on Kermit Kendrick. That's why you're seeing a little less man-to-man from Alabama. Kendrick, an all-SEC free safety, sticking close to Willie.
Here's the Ole Miss field goal attempt. It'll be a 51-yard attempt. If Brian Owen, who is 3 for 3 on the year, makes it, it would be his longest of the year. Didn't hit that one very well, but you wouldn't either, because Derek Thomas and Lee Osment were right in the face of the holder, Greg Hogue. It went nowhere. Alabama will take over. Great pressure from the Alabama field goal kick defensive team, and the game remains scoreless with 2:54 to go in the first quarter.
This year, Penn State is starting a freshman quarterback for the first time under Joe Paterno. His name is Tony Saka. He's a good one. I can see why Florida, among others, were recruiting him a year ago. He has a couple of touchdown passes, and already it is 28-0 in the second quarter. Penn State on top. Back to Bob and Tim.
Bryant-Denny Stadium, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. 2:54 remaining in the first quarter. Scoreless ball game. Alabama struggling offensively. Sutton is 0 for 3 with 1 interception, and Alabama has rushed the ball for 20 yards. Remember last week, Alabama started 7 of their first 8 drives against Kentucky. Alabama was 3 downs and out. This is Alabama's 4th possession. They've been 3 and out every time so far today.
And so much of their offense is designed around the quarterback getting them in the right play. During the spring, Vince Sutton was hurt. Jeff Dunn got hurt. David Smith took most of the snaps, and I think everyone is willing to admit that David Smith knows this offense better than any other Alabama quarterback.
Curry is hopeful of Smith's return against Tennessee next week. Sutton to attempt his 4th pass of the day. Down he goes, Tony Bennett. From Alligator, Mississippi, not the San Francisco Tony Bennett, with the sack.
Yeah, the Alligator, Mississippi Tony Bennett. And here he comes. Another excellent job of coverage by Ole Miss. Sutton back and wisely holds the football because no one is open. Pressure put on there by Rodney Lowe. Sutton tries to use his athletic ability to escape up the middle. Nothing there.
2nd down, 17. Murray Hill, quick opener. The great speed. That's the first substantial run from the line of scrimmage by an Alabama back all day, and he gets 17 yards, the little 5'7" senior from Atmore.
So, I mean, this is just like pulling the trigger. You don't know when this guy's going all the way. Maybe 2 yards, maybe 3 yards. Nice block by Howard Cross on Hancock. Sandroni and Stevan Moore bring him down, but this is exactly what we saw last week, Bob. And but when you put that hand, I mean, that some people would say that's a conservative call, a draw to Murray Hill. He can go the distance.
Measurement for the first down. He didn't quite get the distance for the first down that time. Just inches short, as it was second down and long. It'll now be third down, less than a yard. Double tight ends. 3 running backs. They are 45 Hill, 34 Stewart, and 24 Turner. Short yardage offense for Bill Curry's Alabama Crimson Tide. 1:53 to go in the quarter. Scoreless game. Now they go to the 2 backs. They give it to the fullback, who gets the first down. That's Robert Stewart.
And Robert Stewart is a Pete Johnson type of fullback, just a load, 6 feet tall, 253 pounds. When you get that load going forward, it's awfully hard to stop him from gaining a yard. He was a linebacker 6 games last year, started 6 games as a linebacker last year. Now they've got him in there because he can get that short yardage distance, and he's a good blocker.
First down 10 at the 45-yard line. Running that play clock down close to the 25-second limit. Now the option play. Sutton's danger is here. Well played by the Ole Miss defense. It was Lopez Jones 88 and Doug Jacobs 94 making the play for Ole Miss.
Let's watch these two work again. Lopez Jones does an excellent job. Come on down the sideline. Come on, string it out a little bit. And here's Chris Mitchell coming into the picture to help him out. Doug Jacobs get there. They both came up with a great play against Georgia last week on a 4th-and-1 situation. Played beautifully.
To the top of your screen, out of your pictures, number 2, Pierre Good. He can go deep fast. Here's a play fake and the handoff in the backfield for absolutely no gain. Kelvin Pritchett with the stop of Robert Stewart. Alabama struggling here. Looks like they were not exactly copacetic on that play.
Looks like they're reaching a little bit. That's just another way to get to the draw. That's all that is, a pump fake and a draw to Robert Stewart. Trying to slow down that Mississippi front a little bit.
Time running out in the first quarter. This will be the last play of this quarter on 3rd down 10 from the Alabama 45. Matter of fact, the play will never get underway, and Alabama's offense can use the quarter break as a time for Vince Sutton to collect his thoughts and talk to Bill Curry. You're watching the SEC on TBS Sports.
H. Next Saturday, the nation's greatest running back since Herschel Walker hits the field.
Emmitt Smith, airborne, touchdown!
Florida's Emmitt Smith leads the Gators' assault on Vanderbilt. 12:30 Eastern on the Superstation next Saturday.
Portions of SEC football are brought to you by Delta Airlines. We love to fly, and it shows, with over 2,200 flights a day.
From Tuscaloosa, Alabama, ready to begin the second quarter. Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you on homecoming. 66 degrees, a beautiful day. Alabama, however, struggling early. Sutton's 0 for 3. They've had a fumbled punt return and interception already.
Well, you know, good defense by Ole Miss and by Alabama. Somebody's going to crack it loose here soon, though.
Ready for Alabama's 3rd down 10 play, opening play of the second quarter from the 45-yard line of the Crimson Tide. Sutton can't find a receiver. Down he goes again. Back at the line of scrimmage. A 3 and then a 4-man rush, but certainly no blitz coming their way. It was 95 Arthur Scott, the linebacker, who finally got him after he ran out of the pocket. And the first quarter stats.
Ole Miss dodged a bullet on that play, Bob. They ran everybody deep. They were planning on a possession type of defense, and Murray Hill had the seam upfield if Sutton would have been able to find him. But again, the pressure from the Ole Miss defensive front.
Chris Moore hits a cannon shot. Coleman, fair catch at the 17-yard line where Ole Miss will take over. Scoreless game, opening moments of the second quarter. 38-yard punt. We talk about Alabama's offensive inefficiency. Well, Mark Young is 3 of 11 for 22 yards, and the team is negative 17 rushing so far today. See where Mark Young stands up in the all-time passers from Ole Miss.
And those are some guys that can wing it. Old Archie Manning, boy, he used to give me a headache. There's a man that really understood what he wanted to do with the football and had the ability to get it there.
Mark Young struggling thus far today. 3 of 11 for 22 yards. 2 receivers to the left side. Quick opener, gives it to faked it to Mickles, and then pitched it out here to Jim Earl Thomas, who gets out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. Nice play fake.
Little fancy footwork. It's the old belly series here. Watch the ride. It's the option. Right now, lays it out there. William Amelong trying to pursue, get in that. Van Trees Davis hustling over and makes the play.
Brings up second down 4 from the 25-yard line.
You're not going to see a lot of that from Ole Miss, Bob. Mark Young just doesn't have the feet and the really the foot quickness to keep running that option.
This is Mickles, the fullback. Not much there, maybe a yard across the 25 near the 26-yard line. Mickles, 5th-year senior from Birmingham. As Tim pointed out early, we've seen him how many times? 9.
This is the 9th time we've seen Joe Mickles.
On TBS telecast, our first Ole Miss telecast came back in 1982.
And he's really been carrying the bread here for Ole Miss. I mean, he carried the ball against Memphis State for 109 yards, carried it 18 times versus Florida. A lot of productivity out of Joe Mickles.
Birmingham, Alabama product playing for Ole Miss. Now it's 3rd down, less than a yard. Wishbone offense. And looked like the right guard or somebody on the right side moved.
Hey, dead ball. What's your team?
Number 67, your right guard, is Derek King, a senior from Miami, Florida. Oops. A little too early, Derek. But once again, this offensive line from Mississippi has played adequately to this point, and they just haven't been together very long. Joe Wickline, a former All-SEC guard at Florida, trying to mold this group into a unit.
Now it's 3rd down, 6 from the 22. That changes everything. Mark Young under all kinds of pressure. Just wings it out here. Looks like Willie Green came up limping on this artificial surface out at about the 44-yard line. Really good quarterback pressure from 51 Tommy Cole.
Man-to-man coverage by Mangum there. Nice jam. Turn and run with him now, John. He's in good shape. Tommy Cole was in Mark Young's face, really couldn't see Green downfield, and John might have kicked Willie Green. That's why he was limping.
Murray Hill is going to return this punt because he's got a good opportunity to get some good field position. Childers hits a boomer. At the 28 is Murray Hill. Down he goes at the 31. Excellent tackle from the linebacker, 44, Sean Cobb. 50-yard punt, 4-yard return. You're watching the SEC on TBS Sports.
When I'm fighting dandruff, I want all the help I can get. So now I'm using new Extra Strength Denorex with 39% more dandruff medicine. For my dandruff and itch, there's 39% more medicine in new Extra Strength Denorex. For great-looking hair, I can't get too much of a good thing.
First, Gillette made shaving closer, then made it smoother. With Atra Plus, its Luber Smooth Strip glides the razor over your face for Gillette's smoothest shave. The Atra Plus system. First, we made it closer, then we made it smoother.
Phone Pals, a new and exciting way to meet people from all over the United States.
Hi, I'm Lori. I just moved to Denver. If you like to ski, give me a
This is Eric. I'd like to meet a woman who likes to hike and fish and would like to spend her summers in Montana.
I travel a lot, so I'd like to meet
Call now, 1-900-909-2222, and listen as people describe themselves to you. Phone Pals, for selective introductions. $2 for the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute.
Last week's thrashing of Tommy Hodson and the LSU offense by Florida's heads-up defense has Gator fans fired up and the rest of the nation taking notice. They'll be tested next week on TBS Sports by the sensational Eric Jones and his talented Commodore teammates. Showtime in Nashville starts at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central, 13th-ranked Florida against Vanderbilt, by the way, with an early lead over Georgia, 3-0 in Athens today. Number 7 is quarterback Jeff Dunn of Alabama.
And Jeff Dunn is on the far left-hand side of that line of players. That's as far away as you can be from the action right now.
First down 10. Wayne Shaw 43 and William Kent 30 in the backfield for Alabama. Again, a fullback who's moved to tailback with the ball. And some nice moves to the 37-yard line. Todd Sandroni, 19 with a stop for Ole Miss. Lopez Jones had him early, 88, but missed the tackle. Kent's a junior from Rome, Georgia. There's Lopez.
I think the thing that makes these Mississippi defensive backs superlative, Don Price is nicked. He's trying to get out of the game, but he's going to line up again, is their ability to tackle. They can tackle better than most defensive backs that I've seen.
Second down 5. The Alabama back shuffle goes on. 24 Turner and 30 Kent right there now. Here's Kent. Nice job. First down. To the 42-yard line. Rodney Lowe with the stop. So William Kent getting some work out of the eye and giving a breather to 45 Murray Hill.
Lopez Jones. Let's watch the block by David Castile here. Jones comes in, sets up, turns the play in. He gets caught back on his heels. He makes David Castile feel powerful. Excuse me, it was Kevin Turner. I'm sorry.
On first down 10 from the 44-yard line. Scoreless ball game with 11:30 to go in the second quarter. And look at William Kent. Pirouette and spin for some yardage, and Jones does wrap him up finally this time. So Kent giving a little rest to Murray Hill, showing a different look. Kent, a former fullback, is close to 6 feet tall and about 210, so he gives you a whole lot more football player to have to deal with on the inside plays.
There's no question about it. When you're 170 pounds, Bob, you'd rather run it on the outside to get away from some of that big meat in the middle.
Second down 7 from the 46-yard line. Here's Kent again. Not much this time, maybe a yard. Alabama seeking a replacement. Somebody who can fill the shoes, and they probably won't find anybody that good, of Bobby Humphrey, who's here today on the sideline. We don't know whether his college career is over. He has possibilities of coming back at the end of this year, maybe, has that broken bone in his foot, may have surgery, could opt to go to the NFL next year, may redshirt, come back to Alabama. The decision up to him. Third down 5 now for the Crimson Tide, right near midfield. Sutton to throw. Hasn't completed one today, and he's not going to complete that pass attempt either. Intended for Marco Battle. Sutton is 0 for 4.
Sutton doing what he does best here, breaking it to the outside, creating time. You see Battle working against Stevan Moore. Stevan just holding. Sutton throws the ball and rifles it right through Marco Battle's hands. Frustration on Vince Sutton's face. It's got to get better.
Coleman back to receive the punt. He averaged about 16 yards a punt return coming into this game. But look at this hang time and look at the distance from Chris Moore. That'll keep you from returning it. A 52-yard Alabama punt. Ole Miss will take over first and 10 at their 20. 10:08 to go. Second quarter. Scoreless game. Today's Today's game is brought to you by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light, two of America's great tasting beers. It doesn't get any better than this. And by Buick and your Buick dealer. The Great American Road belongs to Buick. Total offense in this game with 10:08 to go in the half. Ole Miss total offense of 14 yards. Alabama total offense 45 yards.
There you see Don Lindsay, the defensive coordinator here at Alabama. Formerly a coordinator at Southern Cal, Arkansas. Fine defensive mind.
First down 10 Ole Miss from the 20 after the 52-yard punt from Chris Moore. Short drop by Young. Rifled it short, intended for Pat Coleman. Mangum on the coverage.
Well, both defensive coaches have to be happy, Bob. Both offensive coordinators have to be scratching their head. 3 out of 13. That's not what Mark is looking for. Vince is 0 for 4. But I think that the Ole Miss offense is a lot more dependent on a Mark Young arm than the Alabama offense is dependent on a Vince Sutton arm. So those numbers need to get better for Mark Young.
Second down 10. Incomplete. Intended for Willie Green.
Well, that time something that we didn't see all last week from Alabama. They were doubling both wide receivers. Both those defensive backs were getting help from the inside. Mark Young tried to stick it into the split end. A little underthrown.
This will be third down 10. See if Crimson Tide lays back their ears and sends them after Mark Young this time. They were anticipating that Ole Miss, so they gave it to Jim Earl Thomas, and Mark Young said, instead of me taking this hit, I think Jim Earl can do that job nicely. Well, and once again, Ole Miss will come in to punt the ball away.
Good defense by Alabama. Last year, Billy Brewer had John Darnell to go to, a quarterback who started the last 6 games for him. Has played some this year, but John Darnell is hurt. He's got an ankle and a knee problem, and I don't think he can play today. So it's going to be Mark Young for 4 quarters for Ole Miss.
Here comes Alabama after the punt. They got a piece of it. Good job of getting it away, and Murray Hill's just going to let it bounce. At the 30-yard line, it goes out of bounds, and Charles Childers, with an exceptional job under pressure, got away a punt of 50 yards. The man in there in his face was 23, Kevin Turner.
Great job by the punter, John Childers. New quarterback, Jeff Dunn. Now let's see if the Ole Miss defense is up to this test.
Jeff Dunn started last week. He's only completing 40% of his passes, and he's thrown 3 interceptions, only 1 touchdown on the season, as he was the first man to fill in for the injured David Smith. He hands off to Kent, stopped for no gain.
That really doesn't make any difference who hands that one off, right, Bob? When you got a defense that's playing that strongly. Good job there by Ole Miss. And Alabama's offense will run a lot of its offense back into the sideline. Trying to catch the defense, slanting their line toward the wide side of the field or stacking their defense to the wide side of the field. Ole Miss, though, playing the tendencies that they've digested over the last 3 games.
Second down 10 from the 30. Gives it to Robert Stewart. He gets about 4 yards out to the 33-yard line. Fullback. 8:18 to go in the first half. Scoreless game from Alabama homecoming at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa.
Bill Curry's certainly not very happy about the way his offense is performing now. You can kind of see the people in the stadium move around in their seats after they run that draw. But, you know, nothing's very exciting if you're not blocking anybody, and that's where it all starts up front.
Third down 8. Done to throw his first pass of the day. He's not going to get to. He's down at the 28-yard line. 89 is Tony Bennett, his second sack of the afternoon. Bennett said, I don't care what number he's wearing. If he's got the ball in his hand, I want a piece of it.
And Tony Bennett is coming. He's going to make Alligator, Mississippi famous, if it isn't famous already. But Stevan Moore jamming Payne coming off on the short receiver. Nobody home for Jeff Dunn.
Chris Moore with the punt. Coleman's going to get out of the way and just let it bounce. It's going to get a good Alabama bounce inside the 20 and down at the 18-yard line. 7:06 to go in the first half of play. You're watching the SEC on TBS Sports. Today's homecoming marks the opening of the Paul Bryant Museum less than a mile from Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, featuring a history of Alabama football. Also traces Bear Bryant's coaching career through the years. A lot of folks were lined up out there this morning at about 9 o'clock to go in and take a look at the Paul Bear Bryant Museum here on the campus of the University of Alabama. So when you're a head coach here, as Ray Perkins found and as Bill Curry notices, Paul Bear Bryant lives forever in the minds of these Alabama faithful. And Ole Miss has made a quarterback change. John Darnell, sore knee and all, is in there at quarterback, number 4. He's the better runner, and he goes down. He injured himself, his knee, in practice this week. He's a junior from Corinth, Mississippi, is the second leading rusher on this Ole Miss football team, but that may be negated today with a sore knee, as you pointed out, Tim.
I'm sure that's going to limit his mobility. He's the better athlete, plays third base on their baseball team, and more mobility, but I don't think he's got the arm that Mark Young has. We'll just see if he can get out of the way.
It's complete to the tight end, Wesley Walls. Quick opener. He just popped off the line of scrimmage and gets it out to the 24-yard line. Mike Smith with the tackle. Gain of 10 yards. Darnell is 6'2", 185, and Wesley Walls, number 80 there, of course, is the two-way player we referred to earlier. Walls was a defensive player, linebacker only, and he started at tight end this year. He's 6'5", 250 pounds, has very, very nice hands from Potomac, Mississippi.
4 catches last week against Georgia. Trying to make him a more fundamental part of their offense, get the ball more to him.
Pressure on Darnell. You see, he can get away from it a little better. The pass is incomplete. By the way, before the people from Pontotoc, Mississippi are on the telephone, it's not Potomac, it's Pontotoc, Mississippi. I do know that. Wesley Walls' hometown. This will bring up punting situation again. And Murray Hill back at his 35-yard line.
And defensively, defensively the problem for Ole Miss is their coach is keeping that defense ready to play, keeping them excited. I mean, defensively, you start to get a little cynical. Come on, boys, let's run it for more than 3 plays once.
7th punt of the day for Childers. Murray Hill has a little bobbles the ball. And it's dead at the 22-yard line in the possession of Alabama. Fallen on by Murray Hill. 46-yard punt. He loses 7 and almost lost the ball. Scoreless game. 5:43 remaining in the first half.
Always well.
John Casmus let a ball hit the ground earlier for Alabama, got it lost in the sun, and now you see Murray Hill under the ball, slides through his arms, and now the race is on. Hustles to cover the ball. It almost escapes again, but he covers it, and it could have been a big play for Ole Miss. Another factor here, Bob, is that 7 punts that the Ole Miss defense has had to cover so far today.
First down 10 from the 23. Alabama and an eye with a slot right. They pitch it to Kent. He steps out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. Kent has been playing a lot of tailback today, giving a little bit of a break to Murray Hill and showing a different look out of the tailback position. Different look being a bigger look. And Murray Hill now into the ball game as Marco Battle, Greg Payne, and Kent all leave the field. First down, second down, check it, 7 from the 26-yard line. Here's Murray Hill to the 30. Yard or 2 short of the first down. Tony Bennett with the tackle. Bennett having himself a whale of a game. 4 tackles and 2 quarterback sacks today. And Jeff Dunn has replaced Vince Sutton at the quarterback position.
Basically, all you're looking for someone from Alabama in terms of offense right now is throw the short pass. As you look at Tony Bennett, who's had a great game, throw the short pass and get us in the right play. Match us up right.
3rd down 3. Longest drive of the day so far has been Alabama, 6 plays, 17 yards. Murray Hill struggles forward for the first down. And the Tide keeps the drive alive with 4:49 to go in the first half of a defensive, old-fashioned kind of ball game. Nothing. Fans, I think, prefer the 35-34 contest to the 7-6 jobs, but the defensive coordinators got to love this today.
Head coaches don't like. They like points on the board, on their side of the board, under their name on the board, and that's what Bill is looking for.
Unless Alabama scores here, they certainly have 4.5 minutes to do it in the first half. It'll be the second straight week of the first half that Alabama had been unable to put any points on the board. But, brother, can they load it on you in the fourth quarter? Murray Hill. He just kept bouncing like a pinball. Gets it to the 37. Somebody was on the side of that pinball machine hitting those flippers.
Let's look at this last week with Dunn and Sutton. They completed 3 out of 11. This week it's 0 for 4. And all that means is that they want David Smith back. I don't think that they feel comfortable right now of letting the ball go through the air. They feel like they can maintain possession better by keeping it on the ground.
On second down 7. Kent. That's 3 or 4 and not much more. It's tough to run on this Ole Miss defense. Out to about the 38-yard line.
And Ole Miss is 4th in the nation in pass defense. Of course, number 1 in the nation is a surprise, Georgia Tech. They're only giving up 87 yards a game, but Ole Miss is number 4 in pass defense. The only touchdown pass that's been thrown on them this year was by Tim Worley, the running back for Georgia.
Third down 5, Alabama from the 38. Ole Miss played Georgia's running game tough in the first half, and then Tim Worley really got uncranked for the Bulldogs last week. Jeff Dunn under pressure. Down he goes at the 33. I think the first guy was Bennett, and then he was finished off by Sean Cobb, 44. Oh, my.
Tony Bennett, Mr. Alligator, working against Sam Atkins. Here he comes. Good arm over move, scoots around Sam, pressures Jeff Dunn out of the pocket, almost brings him down, and then Sean Cobb tripped him up.
Chris Moore in for his 6th punt of the afternoon. Coleman. Sun got in his eyes again. The ball is going to roll dead at the 7. I say the sun got in his eyes. It is a low sun directly in the face of the punt receiver on our left. That was a 60-yard punt when it rolled dead, and the last time at about the 20, Pat Coleman got out of the way. He must have had problems with the sun because he likes to catch it and return it, and he averages nearly 16 yards a punt return and has a TD already this year.
Coleman was the Mississippi Junior College Player of the Year last year, a good athlete, but he makes a wise decision. If you can't see it, it always is tough to catch it.
Shouldn't he hold his glove up?
That would have been a good idea, too. An umbrella or something, block the sun.
That's what they do in Yankee Stadium. Ole Miss trying to run it out of the hole, out to the 10-yard line. Comes Jim Earl Thomas, the sophomore from Marigold, Mississippi.
McCants there and Mangum. Mangum trying to reach up and grab that ball, trying to strip it out of there.
2 minutes to go in the half. Scoreless ball game. And Ole Miss in a hole. All they want to do is get this ball out of here and avoid a turnover, because this is where you can have this Alabama opportunistic defense really take over the ball game on you. Ask Kentucky about it. This is second down 7. Here's the pitch to Thomas. You see what I'm talking about. He goes down at the 6-yard line. The ball came loose. Was it after the whistle had sounded? Apparently. Yes, Ole Miss ball. Tommy Cole made the play, 51 for Alabama.
Look at Keith McCants, man. He can't wait to come across there. Good pitch by Darnell and Tommy Cole there. A NASCAR racing fan. Wrestles him to the dirt. couldn't really see the ball come out. How about you, Bob?
It popped out on that artificial surface. It was a good call by the officials. It belongs to Ole Miss with 1:17 to go in the half. You're watching the SEC on TBS Sports. Coming up at halftime, I can't wait to hear the comments from Tennessee's coach Johnny Majors, who has traveled to our Atlanta studios on Tennessee's off week to talk about the Volunteers, the changes made in that defensive unit. Tennessee 0-5, 0-3 in the conference, and Ken Donahue has stepped down, and some changes have been made for the porous Tennessee defense, and he'll be talking to Craig Sager about that at halftime. On 3rd down 9. Nothing happening, and there's a minute 12, 11, 10, and the clock counting here to go in the half. And Alabama's going to have an opportunity on a punting situation. It was Joe Mickles who got no yardage that time.
Now there was a flag down.
Dead ball. Personal foul on the red.
Oh, big break for Ole Miss. That'll move them out of the hole.
Now they called that on John Mangum. He and Pat Coleman were tangling downfield, and a couple of monsters of the midway there. A couple of 170-pounders going after each other. John, you got to be careful, man. They always catch the defensive guy. They don't think a wide receiver would ever hit anybody.
How about Dennis Gentry with the Bears in that Buffalo Bills-Chicago Bears game? Wide receiver causing a controversy for his block. I was thinking of you, Tim, when I read that Sports Illustrated story. I thought a wide receiver causing a controversy. Unusual. 49 seconds, 48 and counting in the half on the first down play as John Darnell just takes it to the turf, and I think Ole Miss will be happy to get away from here without turning the ball over. Alabama player limping off the field is 94 George Thornton. Apparently twisted his ankle.
And Thornton's been a fine player for him. They're really happy with his progress. They think he's got major league potential. He's playing in there behind Tommy Cole. That's one thing about this Alabama defense. They're constantly running people in and out.
16, 15, 14 and counting with the clock here in the first half. Darnell handing it to Mickles. Out to the 26-yard line. Greg Gilbert with the stop, and that'll probably be the last play of the half. Johnny Majors in our studios in Atlanta talked to Craig Sager, and he's watching Alabama intently. That'll be Tennessee's opponent next week. And Billy Brewer's team has shut out for the second week in a row a major SEC power in the, or not shut them out, but has held them close in the first half. His team led Georgia at the half and has Alabama scoreless as he goes in to the locker room at halftime. Stay with us as we continue our halftime information for you on TBS. Today is the Crimson Tide's 68th homecoming game. Alabama's 38-10 victory over Southwestern Louisiana in '87. The Tide holds a 58-8-1 record in homecoming games. Bear Bryant was 25-0 in homecoming games. And to further tie this together, Ole Miss was Alabama's first homecoming victim in Denny Stadium, now Bryant Denny Stadium, back in 1929. Ready for the second half to get underway. Max Smith, number 16, kicking off for Ole Miss with the wind at his back. At the goal line, Pierre Good with the world-class speed. Nobody will catch him, the fastest player on the Alabama team. Homecoming crowd had sat on their hands during the scoreless first half, and Pierre Good grabs the kickoff and takes it all the way. He was right on the goal line. We're going to call it a 100-yard kickoff return for the junior from Town Creek, Alabama. Alabama 7, Ole Miss nothing.
We're going to take a look at it again. Pierre Good, as Bob pointed out, world-class speed, the fastest man on this Alabama football field team, heading up the field, just nobody there. Hancock gets a hand on him, but then that's it. Casmus blocking the kicker, and then it's just clear sailing. Now Bill Curry's going to have to announce to his football team that it's all right to play in the first half. 7-0. Last week, Georgia got on the board against Ole Miss. Their first touchdown was a 93-yard kickoff return by Tim Worley. And I think one of the things, Bob, that we have to point out is the defense for Mississippi just plays exceptionally. But they're on the kickoff team, and they're on the punting team, and they're getting a lot of track work that they don't necessarily need. Good run by Pierre.
Well, Gene Jelks had a kickoff return of 96 yards for a touchdown earlier. He went down with injury. Pierre Good moved back in there. Now he has one. So that's the second kickoff return for a touchdown on the year for Alabama. Jelks also had a punt return for a touchdown earlier. And now Godwin and Coleman back deep. This is Coleman. He also a terrific sprinter. He's found a seam and tripped up at the sideline, or we would have had another foot race. And it was the kicker, Philip Doyle, who got number 3, Coleman. Penalty marker is down, however, back there at about the 13-yard line for Ole Miss. Well, that's more action than we saw in an hour and a half of football previously in 2 plays. This will be against the Rebels.
We have a clip on the receiving team. We have for this.
Mark Young, the trigger man once again, trying to work his way out of a hole here. A dangerous time for a defense, too. You don't want to be too aggressive in this situation because they can go 95.
On the first down and 10, Mark Young. Pass intended for Jeffrey Holder. So Mark Young, who had given way to Darnell, starts this second half at quarterback, but with his back against the wall. That's the longest kickoff return in the SEC in a long time. Of course, a lot of folks, several, have had 100-yard returns, but it was back in 1981 when Eric Martin of LSU had a 100-yard kickoff return. On the second down 10, Ole Miss trying to run it out close to the 10-yard line. Jim Earl Thomas carrying. Here's a look at the Alka-Seltzer Plus first half statistics. Not many statistics there. Look at -8 rushing for Ole Miss and 0.
This is a defensive coach's dream. This is the kind of football that you ought to play. Don't give him nothing.
Mercy. Well, Billy Brewer works so hard with this football team on special teams, kick and punt coverage. But as you pointed out, they have to do it so much, they simply, eventually, somebody's going to find the seam like Pierre Good and like Tim Worley did the week before. On the third down, that's a safety. Tommy Cole.
From Alabama. They're planning on more aggressive coverage, but they're playing zone. As you see their players drop out, it was an out and up. It wasn't there. And there he comes, the race car driver, Tommy Cole, twists Mark Young to the ground, 2 points. And it really, as Bill exhorts his return team, this really has to depress Ole Miss's defense. They played admirably all day long, and here they go. You know, the offense gives them 2 points. The special team gives them 7. Bill Curry happy with the way this second half is starting. Kind of taking the load off of their offense a little bit, wouldn't you say, Bob?
Childers, yes, I would. Childers in for the free kick. Place kick it or punted after the safety from the 20-yard line. And there's Casimus 33 and Murray Hill 45. And remember,
you used to pick up grass and throw it. You see, Casimus picked up a little piece of paper, threw it up there to see which way the wind's blowing.
Through some of the turf. Here's Murray Hill. He gets it about the 27. He has running room. Hill to the 24, 23-yard line. He was stopped by 19, Sandroni. It was a 50-yard return by Murray Hill. 150 yards in return yardage on 2 plays for Alabama.
Just a great job of forming the wedge, and Ole Miss just does not converge on the football. They stay spread out in their coverage, and Sandroni, a wonderful effort, getting Hill to the turf before he stretched it into the end zone.
I know a lot of numbers of starters on offense and defense who play on the kick coverage teams. A lot of 60-minute guys, or at least 40-minute guys on this Ole Miss team. Running to the left side is Murray Hill, out of bounds inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Alabama leading 9-0, and we've had only a minute and a half played here in the second half. The 100-yard kickoff return against Billy Brewer's kickoff team, and then 50 yards on the return after the safety on the Childers punt, and Alabama has it 2nd down 6 at the Ole Miss 19-yard line. Murray Hill takes the fake, and Dunn is going to throw. He's under pressure. Threw it right in the ground. Will not throw the flag. There was a receiver out in that general area. Keith Thompson, 87, was all over Jeff Dunn.
The Alabama offensive line here, coming off the ball. Fru Morgan, 76. Rose, 74. Schultz holding him out, trying to maintain leverage, give Dunn time. But Keith Thompson chases him down from the back, and there was no one home. Another great job of coverage by the Ole Miss secondary.
3rd down 6 from the 19. Prince Wembley and Greg Payne, the receivers for Jeff Dunn. Stewart and Hill in the backfield. Dunn's going to keep it wide open. Got a great block out there, and Dunn to the 5. Dunn has a taped up sprained ankle that he sprained late in the first half. But he's playing with it, so he was gimpy, but he gimped his way to a 1st down at the 5.
About that time, they caught him in the blitz. Dunn turned it upfield. There was no one there. Nice job by Prince Wembley, an outside receiver here for Alabama, blocking Stevan Moore. Gave Dunn some more room.
1st and goal from the 5. Alabama leading 9-0. Turner in motion. Hill to about the 3. Is this the same football team? I agree with you. The first half, last week, Kentucky shuts out Alabama. They go in at halftime. I'd love to have heard what Bill Curry says. Come out here and get the great returns, get a safety. Now knocking at the door again, could quickly be up.
Well, whatever he said at halftime, but he needs to start saying it before the game. Because I'm sure that this is working on his acid indigestion. 2 shutout first halves.
2nd down goal. Double tight ends. Murray Hill looking for the seam. Didn't get it. It was Lopez Jones who slammed him to the ground. And it'll be 3rd down and a couple for the touchdown.
Ole Miss is getting great play out of Lopez Jones and Tony Bennett, both their outside linebackers. Just good upfield pressure, good closing the trap. Sean Cobb wants to talk it over with Robert Henry on the sideline. Make sure they're on the same page, make sure there's no confusion.
11:53 to go in the 3rd quarter. Alabama leading 9-0 and threatening again.
Next Saturday, the nation's greatest running back since Herschel Walker hits the field.
Emmitt Smith, airborne, touchdown!
Florida's Emmitt Smith leads the Gators' assault on Vanderbilt. 12:30 Eastern on the Superstation next Saturday.
Alabama has come out here in about 3 minutes and 15 seconds of the 3rd quarter and tacked 12 points on the board. A 100-yard kickoff return by Good, a safety by Tommy Cole getting Mark Young in the end zone, then the 50-yard free kick return after the safety by Murray Hill, and the Philip Doyle field goal to make it 12-0 Alabama. Coleman won't be able to return this one, shading his eyes, catching the punt. Ole Miss will bring it out 1st down 10 from their 20. We talked about Alabama's inefficiency offensively. Well, it's same is true for Ole Miss. Darnell came in, went 1 out of 2 passing for 10 yards. Young was 3 of 14 passing in the first half, and Ole Miss's offensive ground game is -15. Remember, Alabama held Vanderbilt to a total of 0 yards rushing for an entire game 3 weeks ago. On the first down, Mark Young. Jim Earl Thomas is open for a gain of about 3. Let's go to our studios in Atlanta and Craig Sager.
Thank you, Bob. Florida State with the ball, their second possession of the game. Quarterback Chip Ferguson gets the rush, but goes out to Lawrence Dawsey, who goes into the end zone for the touchdown. Florida State leads Georgia Southern by the score of 7-0. Back to Bob and Tim.
12-0 here at Tuscaloosa. Alabama leading. 11 to go in the third quarter. It is complete to Reed Hines for the first down. 2 consecutive completions now. Mangum covering on the play.
They started out the game by throwing the ball down the field a little bit more. Now they're just trying to shorten it up, just trying to maintain possession of the football, get some continuity going. Alabama is playing a little bit softer, which at this time in the game is a thing to do. You know, Jim Earl Thomas, he didn't catch another one. He didn't be happy about catching another one short like that with McCants hammering him.
Over the middle, complete to Wesley Walls. Another first down out to midfield. Mangum on the tackle, his 5th of the afternoon, and 3 consecutive completions for Mark Young.
Three-step drop, looking for Walls all the way. Works inside of Greg Gilbert. Nice timing route. Walls finding the open area and then getting a couple yards.
First down 10 at midfield. The delay gets about 3 yards to the 47-yard line to fullback Joe Mickles.
There's Red Parker. Drove over to the hotel yesterday with Red and talking about his days at the Citadel and as head coach, and had a great offense there. Head coach at Clemson. As a matter of fact, he coached Don Lindsay, the defensive coordinator from Alabama.
On second down 7 from the 47, Young. It's complete again for another first down. Willie Green this time getting in the act, and Mangum with the tackle again. That's 4 consecutive completions, and Ole Miss is on the drive to the 37 of Alabama.
Now this is just man-to-man. Willie Green dragging it across. You saw he waited to let Wesley Walker clear, came across behind him, trying to pick off John Mangum.
Despite the explosion by Alabama at the opening of this third quarter, they lead only 12-0. A touchdown obviously makes this one still very close. Young, deep drop, rifles it. Almost picked off by Kendrick. Kermit Kendrick stepped in front of number 5, Reed Hines, and he had nothing but artificial turf in front of him, about 60 yards, 65 yards away.
The time pattern, they're running off the outside receiver, trying to get the slot over toward the sideline. Kendrick has been in great position on this pass all day long. They tried to throw it in there a couple of times. Kermit is playing that route, which is an intelligent thing for him to do. I think if they're going to stick that in there, Bob, they're going to make it happen a lot quicker.
The second down 10. Trying to loosen up Alabama a little bit with a run off left tackle, about 3.5, 4 yards for Mickles. Keith McCants, 86, with the stop for Alabama. 9:23 to go in the third quarter. Alabama with a touchdown, a safety, and a field goal in the first 3.5 minutes of this quarter.
Big down for Alabama's defense. 3rd and 6. Hold them to a field goal here. They'd like to keep them off the board, obviously. Alabama's been playing exceptionally well on defense to this point.
Ole Miss still with negative rushing yards on 3rd down 5 from the 32 of Alabama. Mark Young, plenty of time. Going to the end zone. Green's down there. Incomplete. It was raked loose on late but good coverage by cornerback John Mangum.
We get to see this one again. He comes down, runs a little, gives him a little outside move. Little outside move, and now he's heading up the field. Mangum trailing. Now he's just looking. Watch the receiver. He's looking for the receiver, waiting for the ball to come down. Gets up there, try to get your head around John, but he knocked the ball out. Good play by John Mangum, preventing a touchdown.
This will be a 49-yard field goal attempt. Owen hit one at 49 earlier this year. This one isn't going to get even close. The pressure by Alabama. Alabama is back there facing the holder about the time the ball gets there. They don't have much of a shot. That's 2 field goal attempts that have been weak sisters, you might say. Dawson Pruitt, the center for Ole Miss, is down. He's the only offensive lineman who started at his regular position all season long, and they're looking at his right knee. We'll be back to check on his condition in a moment.
The Clydesdales, the symbol of Budweiser quality. A Beechwood aging, the choicest natural ingredients, and a genuine commitment to freshness and taste. One beer lives up to all this. Budweiser.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality.
We engineer quality into every drop of Quaker State motor oil.
Only Quaker State has QSX, an advanced formula proven to run clean for unbeatable protection from wear and tear. Before our oil's good enough for your car, we prove that it works in our car.
Quaker State quality. We don't just talk about it, we live by it.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
A couple of surprises so far. The biggest one in Blacksburg right now. It's Virginia Tech over South Carolina. A couple of Todd Ellis's passes were intercepted and returned for touchdowns. 21-10, South Carolina losing. Florida in a battle with Memphis State just before intermission, 3-3. And Georgia has just received a touchdown by Tim Worley to take a 24-13 lead. Back to Bob and Tim.
And there's Dawson Pruitt, the center for Ole Miss, who was taken off the field. Seems to be okay. They were checking his right knee, and we'll keep a report on him. He is the anchor of that Ole Miss offensive line. On first down, 10 Alabama after the muffed field goal attempt. Alabama leading 12-0. Murray Hill tries the short side of the field, gets a couple of 3.
Good job by Chris Mitchell, playing for Don Price in this series down at the left corner, coming up and taking on Robert Stewart. As we mentioned before, Robert the Truck Stewart, kind of like Robert kind of runs like that mascot that you saw there. You got an elephant, get in the way, it can be painful. But Chris Mitchell stuck his nose in there nicely.
Second down, 8 from the 34. Out of the eye, it's Kent. William Kent playing tailback, switching from fullback this week. And he gets the handoff. And about 4 more yards to the 38-yard line. Kelvin Pritchett with the stop. West Virginia struggling early against East Carolina. Another early score. Nebraska ranked at Kansas.
And Pritchett has played well, Bob. We haven't talked much about him. Darrell Smith, starter for several years at Ole Miss, is at home and with an injury.
This will be third down 3 from the 39-yard line, Alabama. Pitch to Murray Hill again. Not much happening. He goes down at about the line of scrimmage. No gain at all.
Pritchett over there in the center of things. See Bill Curry taking the headsets from Bill Curry Jr. Wants to talk upstairs, but Pritchett has played admirably. They're really only playing, Mississippi only playing with 4 defensive linemen, not substituting much at all.
Moore with his 7th punt of the day for Alabama into the wind. Coleman catches it, gets a couple of yards out near the 30-yard line. The hit by Bill Smith. Check that, Charles Gardner. Remaining schedule for Ole Miss: Arkansas State, at Vanderbilt, at LSU, Tulane, Tennessee, and then Mississippi State. Alabama will play at Tennessee next week. You heard from Johnny Majors about the changes made with the Tennessee defense with Craig Sager at our studios at halftime. Then Penn State continuing in the SEC, getting down to that Auburn game at the end of the year. Willie Green had it and then probably had a touchdown had he held on to it. Lee Osment covering on the play. That's 2 close but no cigar plays for Mark Young to Willie Green in the last 10 minutes.
We'll watch Willie Green again here. See him coming off the line. Derek Thomas drifting out there, backing up. He's playing that short zone. Lee Osment playing man-to-man on Willie Green. Nicely thrown ball. Osment stretches out and knocks it free. Got to make those catches if you're going to beat Alabama.
Mark Young on second down gets it to Wesley Walls for the first down. Lee Osment making the stop. Let's just see where the official spots the ball. I believe it's enough for the first down.
Wesley Walls is a big fella, Bob. I mean, he's 6'5", 250 pounds, very mobile. They like him as a pass rusher in passing situations. And those tight ends can just wall you off with their body, keep you from knocking the ball down, and they are a good target in possession situations and on play action passes on first down. They're trying to get the ball more to Wesley.
Mark Young more time to throw this half and thus doing more damage. It's complete for about 5 yards. That was Tony Harris, by the way, who's a defensive back, to show you how they have to patch up this Ole Miss team looking for some punch somewhere. Number 32 with the reception, gain of about 5.
Out of Town Creek, Alabama.
It'll be second down about 4. And Holder was open but didn't turn around. A little bit of pressure on Mark Young that time.
I like to see what you call a lot of pressure. If there's a little bit of pressure, let's watch this. Boom, boom, boom. Well, I tell you what, Derek Thomas is either sacking a quarterback or you got a feeling that somebody's holding him someplace. That guy is remarkable.
5:36 to go, third quarter. Third down 3. Ole Miss near midfield. They run it. Sean Sykes. He breaks the tackle of Kendricks for the touchdown. A 53-yard touchdown run by Sean Sykes, the senior from West Point, Mississippi. And Ole Miss within 6 and an opportunity to come to within 5 on that 53-yard run. They had negative rushing yardage until then. He's the guy who's not supposed to have the breakaway speed. He's the dependable 3 or 4 yard tailback. Jim Earl Thomas is usually the guy who has the chance to break it. The PAT is good, and we've got ourselves a ball game at Tuscaloosa. Alabama 12, Ole Miss 7.
And as you pointed out, Bob, Sykes actually is a better receiver than he is a ball carrier, but here's that blitz defense. They're coming after it. They hit a quick trap. Kermit Kendrick trying to chase him down, and finally tries to bulldog him, doesn't hold on, and Sykes goes into the end zone. Good job of running by Son. Actually, what happened in that particular situation is they got a quick trap, a quick pop. A lot of pro teams will, instead of throwing the ball on the outside against a blitz, they'll have a blitz checkoff that's a trap. Because once you get the seam at the line of scrimmage, there's nobody home.
Let's go to our studios in Atlanta and Craig Sager.
Well, thank you, Bob. Anthony Carter is no longer Michigan's all-time leading scorer. The punter is Mike Gillette. He's also the field goal kicker. And here out of punt formation, he keeps the ball, goes 40 yards for the touchdown. And Michigan on top of Michigan State, 17-3. Another surprise, though, for you. John Butler has kicked another field goal, and Memphis State leads the Gators at half. Back to Bob and Tim.
Gators looking ahead to continuing SEC play up at Vanderbilt next week in our TBS Sports game, and struggling with Memphis State. Good decides to run it out late. And gets out to the 21-yard line, and penalty markers go down everywhere. at the point of the tackle.
That was one of those instances, Bob, where he wasn't sure if he stepped out or not, I think.
We have Clapton on the receiving team on return.
That was the call against Alabama. They're going to mark it back here to about the 11-yard line. There's a scoring drive for Ole Miss, 70 yards in 5 plays. The key, Sean Sykes popping the quick opener for 53 yards.
But Ole Miss in the second half has actually looked like an offense. They've gone together at halftime. Red Parker has put some things together, and Mark Young looks a lot more settled down. They look good on offense.
Dunn 0 for 2 throwing the football this afternoon. He replaced starter Vince Sutton. From the line of scrimmage, Alabama hasn't done much yet. Much that time. Murray Hill. Alabama had the 100-yard kickoff return to open the half, then a safety from Cole. Then Alabama, after the 50-yard return on the free kick following the safety, unable to punch it in for a touchdown. Again, from the line of scrimmage, not really getting a lot done. They take the field goal, and it's 12-7. So Alabama's still struggling offensively in this game despite the 12-7 lead. Off to Turner, the fullback. Twists and turns for 4 or 5 out to the 18. Stevan Moore with the tackle.
And Moore is one of the top cornerbacks in the country. He can cover you man-to-man. He'll fight you downfield. And just like in that particular situation, he was looking inside on the snap, saw the fullback with the ball, reacted all the way from his corner position, and when the ball bounced outside, he was there to stick his face mask in the back's chest.
3rd down 2, Crimson Tide. Is short of the first down. He needed to cross the 20-yard line. He did not. Sean Cobb, 44, with the stop for Ole Miss. And Alabama, with this field position, will have to punt it away. Coleman will go back to take the Chris Moore punt. Moore's 8th punt of the day. There's going to be a penalty marker as the Ole Miss punt rush ran into Moore. Ole Miss is going to be sorry about that one. They had good pressure, but everybody came at the punter instead of across and in front of him. The first man there was Tony Bennett, number 89, and Philip Kent, 84, was also back there as you watch it again.
Well, whenever you call this punt rush, a concern of a coach is more coaches would call this if they had people that could avoid the punter. The ball is out, and it almost looked like somebody knocked Tony Bennett into the punter. Let's see if that happened. Bennett around the outside in good position. He leaves the ground, and then one of his own players changes his trajectory. Bennett's involved in that. Pete Harris, a redshirt freshman, involved in the contact on the punter.
Special teams causing big problems for Billy Brewer here today. A 100-yard kickoff return, a 50-yard free kick return, and now the roughing the punter call, and it's 1st down 10 Alabama at the 35-yard line. Crimson Tide leading 12-7. 3:31 remaining, 3rd quarter. Kent was tripped up there by Lopez Jones and finished off by Cobb.
Alabama on offense trying to get something together. Bob, as you pointed out, most of their punch in this game has come from the special teams. Last week they had some big plays, one from Murray Hill, another for Todd Richardson, and then good play by their defense in the second half.
2nd down 8 from the 37. Jet tried to bounce it outside, but he was wrapped up by 92 Kelvin Pritchett, sophomore from Atlanta. And a defensive player, as you mentioned earlier, Tim, that they like at Ole Miss. He's playing in place of starter Darrell Smith, but is maybe more talented.
Well, I think you know, he could have more potential. There's no question about that. He's a sophomore. This is the first year he's played. Didn't play at all last year.
Now it's 3rd down 7, and Jeff Dunn is out of the shotgun. He has not completed a pass today since coming in for Vince Sutton, who started. It's picked off. 45 is Price. To the 38-yard line of Alabama, Don Price, the junior from Jackson. So Ole Miss trailing 12-7 with an opportunity inside Alabama territory.
I think Homer Smith intentionally not trying to put the ball in the air, trying to control the game on the ground. The ball is well overthrown, trying to get it out to Murray Hill. And Don Price makes the interception.
Ole Miss with another opportunity here at the 38-yard line. Deep drop by Young. Nothing going. There's Price, the man who picked it off for the secondary. We told you at the beginning of this ball game for Ole Miss is an excellent one with Sandrone, Stephon Moore, Hancock, and Don Price, and Alabama with 3 turnovers on the day.
First half, 24 yards of total offense. 3 drives in the second half, 110 yards. They found a rhythm.
On 2nd down 12, good time. It's complete for about 3 to tight end Wesley Walls. Kendrick with the stop. And Wesley Walls now with 4 catches for 44 yards today, the two-way player.
You can talk all you want to about confidence, but when you come into a stadium like Alabama, and of course in the South, a traditional difficult place this is to play, you know, you don't really sometimes expect a win coming in, and it looks like it took Mississippi a while to settle down and actually start producing.
3rd down 7 from the 34. And the sprint out to avoid that rush. Looking for Hines, couldn't get to it. Mangum interference down there near the goal line. Mangum got between the goal line and the intended receiver, and the penalty flag came up.
I think they're going to call it on the offensive player. I think they'll call it on Reed Hines here. Let's see.
Be an interesting call here. Mangum thought it was coming against him. You're right. And happy to see it called against somebody other than a defensive back, Tim.
See, John, you remember earlier in the game when this official called it, the official called an unnecessary roughness foul on John, and maybe this is a little payback. It seems like incidental contact. Doesn't seem like there's much activity there at all.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't understand the call. Probably easy to second guess with replays, but probably a better no call than a call. But it moves it all the way back to the 49-yard line now, where it will be 4th down. Because of that penalty, it's a loss of down.
Good job by the Alabama defense. A lucky break for Alabama, moving Mississippi out of field goal range. A chance to pull within a field goal of Bama.
This is Childers' 8th punt today. Cassimus is going to fair catch it at the 11.5-yard line. 32 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Alabama 12 and Ole Miss 7. You're watching the SEC on TBS Sports. Alabama leading 12-7 at homecoming 1988, the 68th Alabama homecoming. Ole Miss the first homecoming victim for the Crimson Tide back here at Denny Stadium. It was Denny Stadium then, now Bryant Denny, back in 1929. And Alabama leading at 12-7 in a close one. This Ole Miss defense has just given the offense opportunities all day long, but Ole Miss unable to capitalize.
And I think they've played with the degree of intensity, the degree of aggressiveness and confidence that we expected from them.
From the 12, 1st down 10, Alabama. Murray Hill wrapped up and slammed to the artificial turf by Kelvin Pritchett, having himself a
Roger Schultz and John Frumorgan. I mean, that's a substantial front line there, and he finds his way through the strong side gap and beats Roger Schultz and makes a play.
Second down, 10. This may not get underway. There's the double zeros ending the third quarter. Alabama leading 12-7 on the long walk to the other end of the field at homecoming. We'll be back here in a moment. You're watching the SEC on TBS Sports. "15 minutes of football remaining here at homecoming for Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you. And Tim, we have no points happening at all in the first half, and all of a sudden 19 points here. Alabama on second down 10 from their 12 as they go now left to right for the fourth and final quarter. Here is William Kent, the former fullback turned tailback. He runs it out here close to a first down. And this Ole Miss defense has played tough. We might point out that Alabama is one of the best fourth quarter football teams in America, though. It'll be interesting to see if Ole Miss can hang in there.
It's that tradition, and these Ole Miss players have been on the field a lot on defense, covering punts, covering kickoffs, but you couldn't ask any more from a defense than these guys have given you this afternoon.
This is third down and 1. Kent. They string it out and stop him for a loss. He struggles forward. I believe it is still short of the first down, however. That Ole Miss defense running 53 yards sideline to sideline can wear you out as much as anything else. And as we pointed out earlier, and as Billy Brewer talked to us yesterday, these starters on offense and defense, many of them also play on special teams. They got to be in great shape.
Sandroni having trouble as Bill Curry looks on. Todd Sandroni, the man that led the SEC last year with 7 interceptions and has 4 already this year, having trouble getting off the field. He came up and made a play on Kent, and preventing him from getting the first down, and they're bringing him off the field now, and they can't. Ole Miss is thin enough. You see Pete Harris in pursuit, grabs a hold of him. Sandroni there makes a hit, tries to hang on. Lopez Jones coming over the top, seems to have twisted his ankle.
It was just 4th and inches, but Moore in for his 9th punt of the day. Coleman back at his 35 for Ole Miss. Last time punted, Alabama got the ball back after roughing the punter call. Coleman all the way back to his 21. To the 27 and down. Alabama leading 12-7, 13:45 remaining in the game. Shaw with the stop, a punt of 55 yards, 6 yards return. And Ole Miss now trying to get something offensively, and they've done a whole lot better mixing it up here in the second half.
Yes, they have. They seem to have found a stride, something that works for them. I think Mark Young has settled down, and they'll just keep doing what they've been doing in the second half.
Young with that deep drop rifles it out here to his tight end Wesley Walls. Gain of about 9 to the 35-yard line. Kermit Kendrick with the tackle. And Mark Young now 11 of 27. He was at halftime only 3 of 14.
I don't think they want to get Kermit Kendrick in a lot of man-to-man situations. So what they might do is put John Mangum on the wide side, man-to-man on Hines, and then get some help back here with Willie Green.
First down run by Jim Earl Thomas. First down run attempt, I might say. Vantrese Davis with a bone crusher down there. I think Jim Earl Thomas got close enough while they check it over. Look at the quarterback comparison. Young and Darnell for Ole Miss totaling 102 yards. And Sutton and Dunn have yet to complete a pass today. It's unbelievable. And they've only attempted 7.
This isn't going to hurt Ole Miss in the defensive national rankings. They're already 4th in pass defense. 0 yardage. Could certainly slide them up.
Good enough for the 1st and 10 at the 37. Swing it out to the right side. That's Mickles. First down. A little more. He was juggling the ball as he went down over there, but he maintained possession. A gain of 15 yards inside Alabama territory. Mike Smith with the tackle, and Ole Miss moving the ball against Alabama.
Nice job by Mark Young, looking down the field for Wesley Walls. Not there, he just dumps it out. And Mangum misses, but Mickles gives you a problem. He's big enough to run over you, but he's also quick enough to avoid you. And that time he put a nice move on Mangum and got the first down.
Jeffrey Holder and Tony Harris, the receivers for Mike Young. Jeffrey Holder, the intended receiver. Holder struggling a little bit today in terms of getting into that passing pattern. It'll be 2nd and 10 with 12.5 minutes to go in the game. Alabama leading 12-7.
Mark Young has done a nice job regaining his composure. Certainly got off not on the pace that he wanted to get off on, but now he's back and he's himself. He's looking controlled in there, in charge.
Mickles popping loose after he was hit at the line of scrimmage and getting about 7 down near the 40-yard line, about 42. Vantrese Davis, the last man up off the tackle for the Crimson Tide.
If Alabama has a strength, as you look at all-SEC nose guard Willie Wyatt, limping off the field, seems to have a shoulder problem. Alabama is quick. You know, they're not as big as they'd like to be up front, and you may be most successful just trying to get the trap right at them.
This is 3rd down 5. Plenty of time again. Incomplete, intended for Willie Green, and Mangum was there to cover. You talked about Mangum living on the edge, Tim, at that cornerback position. He's in the thick of it about every play.
He is, and they've been giving a little bit more help this afternoon, a little bit more zone. And those are catches you got to make as a split end. I mean, the ball is in there, and Mangum has knocked it free after Willie Green had the ball in his hands. You got to make those. But nice job by John. You're winning today, John.
On 4th and 5, Ole Miss to punt, trying to get some field position here. Alabama back for some coverage. Can Ole Miss get to it and save it? It is downed at the 1-yard line. What a great special teams play by Darren Billings, number 39. We'll be back in a moment.
Belongs to Michelob.
Today's game is being brought to you by Chrysler. They believe a luxury car should be a great driving car. Chrysler, driving to be the best. And by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Well, Alabama in a hole inside the 1-yard line. Real good coverage by the special teams.
Casmus does a nice job faking that fair catch. But look at Keith Thompson. He shovels the ball back into the field of play. Darren Billings is there and downs it on the 1-yard line. That's just alert special teams play.
And a 41-yard punt, and a nice job of pooch punting by Childers, meaning you hit it kind of like your L wedge. That's more than the sand wedge. Alabama staying conservative inside the 3. Kevin Turner carrying out to about the 3. Well, we've got ourselves a ball game. 12-7 Alabama. They're in a deep hole. A mistake here. And you know Bill Curry is over there with his stomach churning. This conference is something, you know. There's no afternoon off in the SEC.
Newberry is in the game, Bob, a tight end that caught that little play pass against Kentucky for a touchdown.
The winning touchdown, you're right. And it was Kevin Turner still inside the 5. This will be 3rd down and about 6 or 7. Alabama yet to complete a pass on the day. Sutton started, went 0 for 4. He was relieved by Dunn. Dunn is 0 for 3 with 1 interception. Alabama has 49 plays today, and 42 of their plays have been rushing plays. This is 3rd and 6. Murray Hill. Hold down by Stevan Moore at the 47-yard line. A 42-yard gallop by that little game breaker, Murray Hill.
He just seemed like a little bumper car here. He takes it up inside. A good job of blocking. Morgan throws himself, clears a path. Chauncey Godwin gets blocked, and then Murray Hill just keeps those little legs turning. Roll. Takes that 170 pounds close to the 50-yard line.
From the 47-yard line of the Crimson Tide, a fake and a naked reverse and a rollout by Dunn, who gets out of bounds at the 35-yard line of Ole Miss. First down, Alabama. Don Price, credit for the tackle. An 18-yard run by Dunn after he faked left and ran right.
Those linebackers by Ole Miss have been very active. This time, they catch somebody napping, bring it back to the short side, and Dunn's all alone. He might have done that by himself.
10-11 to go in the ball game. Alabama leading by 5. From the 36-yard line of Ole Miss. Kent dropped at the line of scrimmage by 94 Doug Jacobs.
But Jacobs really closed that trap. He really got his head down to the inside and created a pile. There was nothing there.
9:49 remaining. Alabama, an explosive fourth quarter team as they came back from a 17-0 halftime deficit to Kentucky to win it with 10 seconds left last week. As they maintained a 5-point lead here. Murray Hill, first down, or close to it. Let's see where they spot it. May have to measure. Don Price with the tackle.
Let's look at the Alabama big boys here. Chatham on the outside, 70. Fru Morgan, nice block down. Sam Atkins leads it up through the hole. Murray Hill fighting to get that first down yardage.
Stretch out that chain. First down, Alabama at the 25.5-yard line of Ole Miss. Alabama, after a 50-yard free kick return by Murray Hill, couldn't punch it into the end zone previously when they were down inside the 10-yard line of Ole Miss. This is first down at the 25. Murray Hill, Robert Stewart, and Kevin Turner in the backfield. Turner lined up on a wing right, goes in motion. Dunn makes the pitch to the end zone. Turner's down there, tipped away beautifully by 21, Roger Hancock. Well executed both sides of the ball.
Yes, it was, Bob. And if they had that corner route on, if Turner would have run the route to the outside, obviously it's always great to run a route where there's not a defensive back, but Roger Hancock, Turner's open momentarily. Hancock did not get sucked up on the fake, coming over and plays the ball beautifully.
Second down, 10 from the 25. Dunn still yet to complete a pass, except to a guy in a white shirt. He's 0 for 4 with the 1 interception. It's Kent. Had a little trouble handling the ball, but gets inside the 20.
Again, we talk about this Alabama offense. Remember that you design a plan around a Heisman Trophy candidate. When you got somebody that's running for the Heisman Trophy and somebody that's as talented as Bobby Humphrey, you know, you're going to design a lot of plays around him. And without him there, it certainly is going to make a big difference in your offensive output.
Third down, inside the 20, Alabama. Murray Hill gets only a couple, and he is stopped short of the first down by a yard or two. It is 12-7. You can figure it out. The 3 would make it 15-7, give Alabama an 8-point lead if they choose to go for the field goal, and that's the indication. Now, we did see the fake off the field goal with Doyle and Moore last week, two pretty good athletes, so I'm sure Ole Miss is telling them watch for that also. Field goal here will not put it out of reach with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion and 7:40 remaining in the game. Be a 34-yard attempt by Philip Doyle. He had a 21-yard attempt that was good earlier today. This one is no good. And Ole Miss dodges a bullet again. Alabama 12, Ole Miss 7, 7:23 remaining in the game. You're watching the SEC on TBS Sports.
571234. Portions of SEC football are brought to you by Delta Airlines. We love to fly, and it shows, with over 2,200 flights a day.
Well, Philip Doyle hit it wide to the right, and Alabama comes away empty-handed after driving down here. That's the second time that Alabama's come away without a touchdown. They did get a short 21-yard field goal earlier. This time didn't even get the 3. Ole Miss hanging around here. 5 points they're down with 7:21 remaining. That's complete to Mickles for about 9 yards, the fullback. And it gives Ole Miss a little bit of running room, and you've got to know that Alabama and their fans are starting to wonder here with 7 minutes to go how happy homecoming will be for the rest of the afternoon. We'll know in about 7 minutes.
And Billy Brewer, coming into this football game, just had to hope his team was close in the fourth quarter. Hope they were within striking distance, and obviously they're well within striking distance.
This is second down less than a 1. Alabama expecting a toss here, but Ole Miss is going to keep it on the ground and go for the first down. They may not have gotten it. Jim Earl Thomas is down. I don't think he made it out there to the 30-yard line, and it'll be third down and about the same distance, about a foot.
John Darnell coming into the football game for Ole Miss.
Darnell is the more run-oriented, option-oriented quarterback. He has a sore knee, played a little in the first half. Third down, less than a yard. Alabama bunching it up. Ole Miss in the wishbone. And Mickles gets the handoff for the first down, out to about the 33-yard line. Big play for Ole Miss. 6 minutes remaining in the game now. Mark Young back into the ball game. They spotted at the 31. Ole Miss with 2 timeouts remaining in case that becomes a factor. Nice grab by Jim Earl Thomas, but he fell down and got only back to the original line of scrimmage. Not much more. Matter of fact, he lost 1 yard.
I think on throws to the right now, Bob, that sun is becoming a factor. You can see it starting to dip over the edge of the stands here.
See the shadows of the players there, give you an idea how intense it is and how low it is. And the Alabama defense rising to the occasion. Mickles is dropped at about the 28-yard line.
Once again, they try to get that quick hitter on that blitz, try to split it. You know, it's the same thing that they got earlier with Sean Sykes, but you can see how the sun is casting its shadow, and actually a receiver is looking right back into a sun that lines up out on the right side as you see Reed Hines drift out to the right.
Alabama 5 defensive backs, 4:50 to go in the game. Ole Miss on third down 13. It's complete to Wall, short of the first down by about 3 yards at the 38-yard line. Charles Gardner with the tackle. And Ole Miss decides with 4:35 to go to try to establish some field position and rely on that tenacious defense. And they have had a beautiful day today. Alabama with no points really from the line of scrimmage. A 100-yard kickoff return, a safety, and a field goal when the offensive unit failed to punch it in. This one's going to hold up there a little bit. They'll have to stay away from it. Takes a good Ole Miss bounce. Inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. The Ole Miss defense comes out, and Alabama's offense has another opportunity. 45-yard punt, 3:55 to go in this game. We'll be right back. There's Red Parker rallying his offensive troops in case they get an opportunity to try to close this 5-point deficit. But right now it's up to the Ole Miss defensive unit, as Alabama will have it first down 10 at the Alabama 18.5-yard line. Alabama has yet to complete a pass all day long. Don't think they'll throw it a lot here. Murray Hill gets about 3. Clock ticking with 3:48 remaining. And Murray Hill has gone over 100 yards today on 20 carries. 106 for Murray Hill.
And Alabama's offense playing really with one wide receiver. Now Marco Battle coming back into the game, but Turner has been playing on first down. A fullback had been lining up at wide receiver, a close flanker. And now they're splitting those two receivers far to the wide side here, also taking Sandroni out of the play.
Second down 6 from the 23. Murray Hill tries the short side. Big traffic jam over there. Nothing happening at all. And Kelvin Pritchett has 8 tackles today, playing in place of starter Darrell Smith. And Memphis State still leading Florida, and it's now in the third quarter. Galen Hall starting to sweat, as is our director Tom Smith, and Georgia laying it on Vanderbilt. That's in the fourth quarter. Third down 5. Big play here for both of these teams, with Alabama leading by 5. The clock down near 3 minutes remaining. Jeff Dunn, who's yet to complete a pass today, does it still, and it'll be fourth down 5 with 3 minutes to go in the game. And the punting unit comes onto the field, and Chris Moore will make his 9th punt of the day. Actually, it's his 10th, and he was roughed on one of them, so it didn't go in the books.
Nice job of coverage there by Chris Mitchell, Bob, on Marco Battle, and Lopez Jones again preventing Jeff Dunn getting outside.
Chris Moore getting it high. Coleman watching it go out of bounds. The officials will mark it upfield here, and it goes out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Ole Miss with good field position and 2:53 remaining in this game, down by 5. You're watching the SEC on TBS Sports. Alabama up by 5. 2:53 remaining. Ole Miss ball. First down 10 at the Rebels' 45-yard line. Alabama homecoming crowd cheering this defensive unit. Mark Young. It is complete for a first down. What a grab by Willie Green. After dropping some earlier, he gets it all the way down here to the 42-yard line.
Young can zing it when he wants to. Fires it in here. Looks like he made the catch. Didn't look like it on the first in live, real life, but on the replay, it looks like he hung in there. Mangum in perfect position. Couldn't have played it any better. Just a nice catch. Willie Green digging it out.
First down 10 from the 43 of Alabama now, trailing by 5. Young, no pressure. Threw it too short. Green couldn't hold it that time at the 38. Green's been a little gimpy since early in the first half. 2:30 to go in the game now. This will be second down 10.
That time he ran a little delay route, Bob, on Mangum, but curled it inside, then broke it back to the outside. Against the zone, it's a good pattern because it develops late. You can throw it underneath. And against man-to-man, if you get that defensive back to commit to the inside, you could have some space. But Mangum hung right with him.
The Smurfs in there now. 5'8" Holder, who wears number 2. 5'7" Coleman, number 3, the receivers for Mark Young on second down. It is complete to Walls. First down at the 25 of Alabama. 5-point game. Wesley Walls with an 18-yard reception.
Let's watch Wesley Walls work here. They need to be more concerned about him and really less concerned about the outside receivers. Gives Gardner a move to the outside and cuts it back underneath. Gardner trailing him in a man-to-man fashion underneath. Nice move by Walls, the big man.
Young is 14 of 22 for 134 yards in the second half. Not this time. At the 29, down he goes. Derek Thomas will get credit for the tackle. He was there with several of the Crimson jerseys.
Looked like a draw, Bob. Looked like they had a draw set up and something happened. Miscue. Now is not the time for that. Sean Sykes coming into the game. He's the 10th leading receiver in Mississippi history. Good hands.
Sykes is number 46, the tailback, in with 41 Mickles. Young. It is complete. Short of the first down to the 16. Hold it. I think it belongs to Ole Miss. Alabama has the ball and says it's theirs, but it will be Ole Miss ball near the first down.
Mangum sticking with him man-to-man in good shape. The ball is thrown in there, and John rips it out after they were on the ground. Nice try.
Oh, you want some drama? It's going to be third down and about a foot at the 16-yard line. Bill Curry's Crimson Tide leads it by 5. A minute 16 remaining in the game at homecoming Alabama. Tim Foley, third down, less than a yard at the 16.
What I think they're going to try to do is hammer it out a couple of times. They want to make sure they get the first down. And then you've got 4 shots at it from the 14-yard line to get into the end zone.
Wishbone formation. Darnell in at quarterback. He's the option guy, keeps it, gets the first down. Darnell, let's see where they spot him. They'll spot him at about the 12-yard line. First down, Ole Miss. Young goes back. Darnell comes off. Look at the jaw of Bill Curry. It is what you'd call set in cement. Minute 5 in the game.
Willie Green on John Mangum, right side.
Mark Young. Hit. They say incomplete pass. The referee was standing right beside Mark Young. He says his hand went forward, and it will belong to Ole Miss. Greg Gilbert hit him 56.
Official. I think, Bob, he brought it back down, and then he was starting to move. Not that he was throwing it any place but out of bounds. That looked like he'd started to move. Looked like his arm was starting to come forward.
Courageous call in front of the 72,000 at Bryant-Denny Stadium at homecoming. Second down, 10 Ole Miss with another opportunity. Young. Incomplete at the 5-yard line, intended for Reed Hines, covered by Kermit Kendrick. Third down, 10 from the 12.
Kermit Kendrick against Reed Hines. Ball off the inside. Good inside position. Stayed right on that inside shoulder. The ball thrown to the outside. Hines not able to hang on. Would have been a nice catch. Good coverage by Kendrick.
50 seconds to go in the game. 1 timeout remaining for Ole Miss. This is third down, 10 from the 12.5.
And if you're a defensive back, this is what you have to love. You have to love this. You got to be able to love the struggle here, this one-on-one confrontation.
Mark Young checking at the line. Handoff, Sean Sykes, touchdown, Rebels. You're looking at the smattering of Ole Miss fans at Alabama's homecoming in a corner of the end zone as Billy Brewer calls a timeout, and a 1-point lead for Ole Miss with 46 seconds remaining in the game. Ole Miss has never in the history of this series won a game at Tuscaloosa.
We talked before about a good play against an all-out blitz. It's a quick trap. They're playing coverage, though. They're not really coming from the inside. They weren't stepping up in there. And they were thinking pass coverage. They got walled off. Nice call by Red Parker. Ole Miss has never won here. Going for 2 points now. Call a timeout to discuss the play. They're up by 1. We saw miracles happen last week for Alabama, and this is certainly an important play for Ole Miss.
You know, Ole Miss, we said they haven't won here. Ole Miss has never beaten the Crimson Tide in the state of Alabama, period. They've played at some other places here. 0-23-1 coming into this game. Two-point conversion is good. Ole Miss goes up 15-12 with 46 seconds left in the game. And out of the wishbone, it is Darren Billings who gets the two-point conversion touchdown.
They come in with the wishbone option look. Darnell just lets go of it, and Billings drives it through.
2 touchdowns on the afternoon for Sean Sykes, one of them for 53 yards, the other one the quick opener when Alabama was expecting Ole Miss to throw it again. It's 15-12 with 46 seconds left. This place is as quiet as an afternoon church social instead of homecoming in Tuscaloosa. Remember that Alabama had a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown to open this half from Pierre Good, number 2, who is standing back there awaiting another opportunity. I don't know if I'd kick it to him.
Well, I'd squib it down there. They've got Hancock on the kickoff team, Lopez, Jones. They've got Stevan Moore. They've got them all in there.
It's been 12 years since Ole Miss has a victory against Alabama, and it's been forever since Ole Miss has a victory in the state of Alabama. This is Max Smith for the kickoff. He does squib it. To the 34-yard line goes John Cassimus, 33. With 41 seconds remaining, Alabama has all 3 timeouts remaining. Now that's a lot of time, and remember, a field goal would tie. It's 15-12.
The only thing working, well, not the only thing, obviously the score works against Alabama at this point, but you know how much yards they got passing so far today?
Donut.
Really, 0. So that doesn't really help. You know, and you're going to throw the ball at a time like this.
Jeff Dunn took over for starter Vince Sutton when Sutton struggled, and Dunn has done likewise. He's going long as Gilbert overthrows him. Greg Payne, and overthrows him. Sandroni covering number 6 Payne. 35 seconds remaining in the ball game. Alabama came into the game 2-0 in the conference, 3-0 overall. Ole Miss 0-2 in the conference, only 1-3 on the season. Jeff Dunn under pressure. They're going to call him for intentional grounding. It was Wesley Walls, the two-way player for Ole Miss. Shades of Gordy Lockbaum making the play.
Much bigger than shades of about 100 pounds bigger than Gordy Lockbaum. Look at Walls. Boy, he wants to win this football game. Rodney Lowe in there. Walls drags down Jeff Dunn. He's just got nowhere to go with the football. And Walls is, he's also nominated for that National Football Foundation Hall of Fame Scholar Athlete Award. And, he'd be the 4th Mississippi player to receive that in 4 years. So he's really produced today.
Now Alabama with a widespread formation out of the shotgun. 29 seconds in the game. 2nd down 10. And the ball spotted at the Crimson Tide 11. Dunn is hit there, and it came loose. And the officials say it is Ole Miss ball. Tony Bennett made the hit. What a game Tony Bennett has played for Ole Miss. The stars for Ole Miss are numerous. The comeback by their quarterback, Mark Young. Wesley Walls catching the ball, playing defense. Also a great game from Kelvin Pritchard, Tony Bennett, the defensive secondary. And remember, today, Ole Miss has allowed Alabama 0 points from the offensive line of scrimmage. The Alabama points came from a kickoff return, a safety, and then a field goal after the free kick.
Bob, it looked to me like Dunn was trying to ground the ball again. That didn't look like a fumble to me.
Looked like the similar situation in which they call the incomplete pass on Mark Young. nevertheless, it's Ole Miss ball. Penalty markers down. Clock ticks down to 21 seconds. Now, Alabama does have their timeouts remaining. There are no timeouts for Ole Miss, but all they want to do is run the clock as quickly as possible and get out of town.
Delay. Okay.
Call of delay of game against the Rebels. Darnell is the quarterback in there now. He's the more sure-handed running option quarterback. Mark Young on the side after having done his job.
No, I think what they're doing is there's a camera over there. Those rascals are pointing into the camera. They don't care about the Alabama fans. They're just telling mom at home they're number one. That's all. And they've got a good reason to be excited, good reason to be ecstatic. They played tremendously well on defense. The defense carried the offense and the special teams through 3 quarters, and then the offense began to come to life, produced the big plays when they needed to. Nice job of blocking up front by the offensive line, protecting Mark Young in the second half, and also an excellent job of running by a tailback that's not too fast, maybe not fast enough to play in the SEC. 2 touchdowns for Sean Sykes.
This is a kind of game that can really turn a season around because Billy Brewer's Ole Miss Rebels play Arkansas State, a 1AA team next week, then play at Vanderbilt, where it should be about an even ball game, then at LSU, and because of the old rivalry there, that's always a toss-up no matter what the situation with LSU. Then Tulane at Ole Miss, Tennessee struggling this year, and then Mississippi State. So you got to look down that schedule the remainder of the season and say Ole Miss has a shot to win all of those games and will probably be an underdog in only one of them.
Exactly, and they're a much better team than 1-3. They were in the game all the way with Florida, all the way with Arkansas. Georgia's the only team to really blow them out. Look at this.
Look out! Touchdown, Mickles! Joe Mickles just running the clock down, finds the opening on the left side, and now tack 6 more and make it 21-12 with 15 seconds. Ole Miss adding insult to injury on Alabama homecoming Saturday.
As you mentioned, Bob, just running down the clock. Sykes out in front. A good job of blocking by Billings. And John Darnell throws a block out in front that really sprung it. Mickles scores.
Ryan Owen in for the point after. It is good, and there's 15 seconds left. This game was 0-0 at the half. Alabama came out here and got 12 points on Ole Miss in 3.5 minutes of the third quarter, and then Ole Miss here in the fourth, where Alabama has been just very strong all year. Ole Miss comes back and gets 22 unanswered points. The stunning upset of the year thus far, no question about it, in the SEC. Kentucky almost had the stunning upset last week. Bill Curry said something interesting about that close win at Kentucky. He said, of course, I'm glad we came back and got the win, but there were many questions raised by the fact that Kentucky manhandled our team as well as they did and led 27-24 with 10 seconds to go in the ball game.
And the other thing that I know is it's not on Bill Curry's mind right here, but it's certainly part of his planning. He lost the Heisman Trophy candidate. He lost their best defensive back, a guy that could lock out anybody if you put him on him man-to-man. Lost some fine players, and he's playing without his team leader, his first-string quarterback. So once David Smith returns, it's going to be a different Alabama football team.
The kickoff goes out of bounds for a penalty with 15 seconds left. No time ticking off the clock that time as Max Smith tried to squib it down there and keep it away from Pierre Good, who had the 100-yard kickoff return earlier. We're going to hope to talk to Bill Brewer after this. Billy Brewer, let's say it straight. Billy Brewer under tremendous pressure for his job at Ole Miss. Ole Miss on probation last year, coming back this year, getting on television again, getting in the championship race in the Southeastern Conference, as he talks to Sports Information Director Langston Rogers, who's telling him right now that Bob and Tim will be chatting with him after the game. Langston ever on the job. And Billy Brewer, let's face it, has been battling for his job at his alma mater, and this will do a lot to help continue the tradition he's been trying to build there since he came back in 1983 and replaced Steve Sloan. Gasimus out of bounds with 10 seconds remaining. and it's locked up 22-12. Ole Miss.
Now, how can you say that when you used to do those Falcon games and they throw all those Hail Mary passes at the end of the game?
They weren't leading by 10.
Well, that's right. 10, yeah. You don't get many touchdowns. You don't get 10 points.
Bill Brewer showed us the chart that you and I failed to be able to read on when to go for 2 points because of the complexity.
Just my competitive nature. You just never want to give up.
Maybe he has a 10-point play chart, does Bill Curry. Jeff Dunn just airing it out. Sandroni's back there for the interception. His 5th of the year. He had 7 last year. This is kind of a garbage time interception, but he doesn't care. It really puts the punctuation mark on it. 2 seconds unmercifully remain for Alabama to have to come back out here again.
And you really have to give Robert Henry a lot of credit. Defensive coordinator for Ole Miss, and Art Kaufman, Ron Case, Robert Youngblood, the defensive coaches there. What an excellent plan they put together, and their players really executed it.
Billy Brewer could restrain himself no longer. He was trying to maintain the clenched jaw head coach look right up to the end here, but with 2 seconds left, the smile broke through. And after the adversity that he's been through with the NCAA investigations, with the probation, with the pressure from the fans, and the pressure to win at Ole Miss, where, folks, it is tough. The talent is not as deep as most other places in the SEC. And Ole Miss today with a watershed, a landmark victory at homecoming over Alabama, and a schedule that favors Ole Miss the rest of the way. It could be another kind of year for Billy Brewer and the Rebels, and for Bill Curry and the Crimson Tide. The questions of losing Humphrey and Jelks and others remain. We saw the nose guard, the all-conference Willie Wyatt, go out with a shoulder. We don't know how seriously injured he is. His backup is hurt. David Smith, the quarterback, went out. He may return against Tennessee next week. And that game against Tennessee takes on a whole new look for Alabama now, as Billy Brewer is not worried about that. He's thinking of savoring the victory by 10 at homecoming here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And interestingly, ironically, the first Alabama homecoming victim at Denny Stadium in 1929 was Ole Miss. And Billy Brewer will be chatting with us in just a couple of minutes about something that has to be one of the most wonderful moments in his coaching career. And if it is or not, we're just going to ask him directly. 22-12. And it was, interestingly enough, the running game that got the points, but the passing game that put them back in it. So, head coach Bill Brewer, we just have to, first of all, congratulate you on today's win. And tell us about what happened, nothing at the half, and the 22 unanswered points when you were down here toward the end of this ball game.
We're playing great football the first half. You know, we wasn't doing a lot offensively, and of course Alabama was, you know, as we came in the ball game, we knew there was a great defensive football team, but we thought we could match them and, you know, match our defense against theirs, and we could kick the ball well, and that's 2 out of 3. We thought we could make some big plays on offense because they kept coming in with the blitz that we could break one, and Sean Sykes did. Now, we did a poor job in the second half of allowing the touchdown. Then we gave them the safety. And again, football team had a chance to, you know, to just lay it down and stack the bats and go on home. But, you know, they're an unbelievable bunch of young people from Ole Miss. And I am delighted, again, with a great effort. And they just keep coming back. We're very, very thin. We had a number of players hurt at the half. They probably couldn't play the second half. But they got up and they come back.
Billy, this is Tim. What did you say to Mark Young at halftime? He seemed to be a little unsettled at the beginning of the game, came back in the second half and played like the Mark Young we've seen in the past.
He did. He wasn't sure of himself, and I think he lacked a little confidence there, and we shook him a time or two, and I think he's a guy, he's a quarterback, sometimes you don't want to get on him, but if you do, then he responds to it quite well. And he's a tough kid mentally. And then he came back and made some big throws for us.
Billy, how big is this win as you look at the rest? Obviously, it's big here. First time ever in Alabama that Ole Miss has won. But how big is it as you look at the schedule the rest of the way? You go to Arkansas State and look down your schedule. You've got a chance to have a successful season staring you right in the face now.
You know, I'm not saying this because we won, but I told our football team before we came on the field that we had a chance not to lose another football game. And, you know, if you just believe that. Because we played well, and I thought we was going to get better offensively 2 weeks ago. And so, you know, they did that, and this was an amazing thing to happen to us. It's a fine football team in Alabama, and we were very fortunate to win.
Bill Brewer, congratulations. We'll probably be seeing you on a TBS telecast down the road. And thanks for an entertaining afternoon.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Bill Brewer, head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels, 22-12 winners at Alabama homecoming in Tuscaloosa. Back with final comments after this. Ole Miss wins 22-12 today, and the Ole Miss defense holds Alabama to 0 yards and 0 completions. The last time that happened to Alabama was against LSU back in 1971. Leading the Ole Miss defense, Tony Bennett, the player of the game from Ole Miss today. You see his statistics up there, and he was all over the field, but you could also praise Kelvin Pritchett, Wesley Walls, the secondary of Ole Miss. They did not allow Alabama any points from the line of scrimmage today. The points came on special teams play and from field goals. And for Alabama, Murray Hill, the replacement for Bobby Humphrey, had another 100-yard-plus game today, 21 rushes for 108 yards and an outstanding football game. Holiday Inns will contribute $1,000 to the General Scholarship Fund of each institution recognizing this honor. Tony Bennett and Murray Hill, the Holiday Inn players of the game. Once again, the final score, Ole Miss 22, Alabama 12. Next week, Tim and I will be in Nashville, Tennessee, as Galen Hall and his 13th-ranked Gators of Florida visit the Vanderbilt Commodores live from Vanderbilt Stadium at 12:30 Eastern Time right here. Today's game has been brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil with QSX for the maximum protection against sludge, by Budweiser Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Chrysler. They believe a luxury car should be a great driving car. Chrysler, driving to be the best. And by the U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. Speaking for Tim Foley and our entire TBS Sports crew, this is Bob Neal from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So long, everybody. This has been a production of the Turner Broadcasting System. You've been watching the SEC on TBS Sports.